remember, he is now the longest tenured baseball man since Billy Beane is getting away from baseball operations. It was Billy Beane, our own Billy Beane, who I expect that we'll run into here. I got to find out what actual day he's going to be hanging around. But Billy Beane will stop by here. But Brian Cashman is now the longest tenured baseball ops person, and he is now under contract till 2026. There was speculation about the Yankees not going to the World Series. The Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. Whether he'd be back. There was question, could he re-land Judge? So he's getting the extension before he even gets to Judge. We've had a lot of news. Before we get to all of it, I got to say, Cody, things that you can tell that the last time we were here, it was the winter meetings. This year, it's something special because we haven't met in 3 years. So just walking up here today, you're seeing like the Athletic now has a table. We're next to the Yes Network like we were last year. KMOX of St. Louis is here, so the Cardinals are here. There's a lot more people here media-wise than we saw last time.
I know, and I think I saw every single member of MLB Network wandering around, so they're here.
Well, they're all in the lobby right now. Everybody,
they're all down the hall from us.
Well, so many are down the lobby right now, and you know what? I wish we could take a camera. Karate Ray is here, the Ninja Kid, and I wish we could give him a camera and take him down. Everybody sits in the lobby, everybody's on their phone, and everybody acts like they're talking to somebody important. And you know, like I walked in, I had the water heater go out of my house today. So I actually had to walk in today trying to get a plumber to get to my house. So I actually walked in, everybody's on their phone. And I'm like, well, I'm actually on a call that matters, where I'm looking at everybody. Everybody in the hallway acts like they're making a deal or they're on the line. Like they're talking to somebody who's making a deal. It's like, it's funny. It's great people watching. No question here at the Manchester. It's a Hyatt, right?
Manchester Grand Hyatt.
Grand Hyatt.
Don't forget the Grand.
It's a beautiful hotel right on the water here in San Diego. David Forst, our general manager, will be here at 1:30. And really the theme for me for the A's this year, before we get to Verlander, Trey Turner, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity right now just to sit back and think about, where will you be in 11 years? I want you to sit back where you are in your life. You guys are in your 30s.
I'll be 45.
Just where you're going to be in 11 years. Because that question really is, it's a good question based on what we've seen here today. But the theme for the A's for me is, and we'll talk to David Forst at 1:30, is what are you doing to get better here? What's happening here to get you better, whether it's now or for later on? Now, I know the easy question is, trades. They're going to trade Sean Murphy. Okay, that might be the case. That might not. But that's not going to turn us around back into a playoff team. Just ship a Murph out to somebody right now. So what needs to happen? What's going on behind the scenes is David Forst doing with other people, other baseball operations people? What are they looking at? What are they doing? How do we get better here in these next 3 days in San Diego? As an A's fan, for you as A's fans, you want to know, hey, how do we get back to winning games? Because we're not used to winning 102, losing 102. You got to go back to 1979. And a lot of people who are going to be watching this, listening to this, you weren't even born in 1979. So you don't remember that.
You were a wee lad, as they say.
I don't remember that. So, I mean, here's the thing. How do we get better? And that's what we want to know from David Forst. That is the theme that we're going to have for the next 3 days from the A's standpoint. From everybody else in baseball, what we are seeing is exactly what we talked about, and I've talked about it over and over again, about what we saw with the CBA. From when we had our lockout before the start of this past season, and everybody was trying to debate what the lockout was about, who's going to win, who's going to lose, that whole thing. And I told you the owners won. And really, the players, i.e. the agents, they don't give a crap about the players. They say they do, and they sprinkled some money on giving the guys the minimum and getting them. They want to protect the big contracts. That's what Scott Boras and all the big agents want. And you saw exactly that right here so far. When you look at Trey Turner gets 11 years, $300 million. 11 years. Trey Turner is what, 29?
Yes, I don't think he's 30 just yet. Let me pull up the old age.
11 years for Trey Turner. I mean, this was a contract in years
29, yep.
that you waited for somebody who was an all-time great. Trey Turner is a fantastic player. He will age well because of his speed, barring any type of injury. But you gave a guy 11 years. Like you look around, I can look around at anybody. Well, we got all these people walking around. We got everybody here at the Manchester Grand Hyatt walking around, and I could ask everybody, what the hell are you going to be doing in 11 years? And you know what their answer is? I don't know. How do you bank 11 years? Like when Pujols was what, 10?
10, yeah.
Or was it 12? Might have been 12.
I thought it was 10 for 250.
Miguel Cabrera's deal with Detroit now seems like it was a 30-year deal, and that's like one of the worst. I mean, none of these deals, and I love Dave Dombrowski, but none of these deals work. None of these deals are good.
10 for 240.
10. You gave Albert Pujols, who's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, 10 years. You're giving Trey, it's not my money. I shouldn't care. I get it. It's the Phillies. That's their problem long-term. But wow, this is what they've always tried. This is what they wanted to protect. They wanted to protect the monster contracts. That's why more than anything, they wanted the luxury tax to keep going up and up and up and up and up. And they wanted these different levels of the luxury tax, whatever the official name of it is. It's because they want the big free agents to still score. If you had a luxury cap, if you had that, if you had a cap, if you had a ceiling and you had a floor, which we both said, and a lot of people we talked to agreed would be way better for baseball, it would spread the money around to more people. It'd be better for the game. If you force the bottom teams have to spend, let's say, $100 million. But they didn't want that. Why? Because they want these deals. They don't want these deals to dry up. They don't want to get rid of 11 years, $300 million. Would you say you'll be 45?
I'll be 45 and when his deal's over. I'm 34 now. 11 years from now would be December of 2000 and what year are we into? 2033. Yeah, I'll be 45. Just turning 45.
Permission to do my first cheap shot of the winter meetings?
Of course.
Which marriage will you be on?
Hopefully just this one. I'll still be on the second.
All right. You'll still be on number 2. All right. How many kids will you have?
Hopefully one. I think we're shooting for one, but you know how that works. We want one, and we'll probably have
a village
quintuplets or something when it happens. Yeah, we took my wife's little cousins to Enchant in San Jose at PayPal Park, and it was really cool, and it was cool for the kids. It's not really a thing for grown-ups unless you want to drink. The cool thing about it was they made my wife and I reenact our engagement photo, which I don't know how I felt about that. And people were like, "So you're getting married for a third time now?"
I mean, the star of stars has literally just arrived.
And she's been here for a while.
You just can't walk by and not come on.
All right.
Come on. Yeah, perfect. You're in sweats. You got an A's chain on. Amelia Schimmel's here, the voice of the Coliseum. She's walking around, Miss MLB Network. Everybody still loves her. Like she's the queen of the network. You got to come on.
Not right now.
You can't. You look.
We'll get her eventually.
All right.
She brought us water and stuff. That's what we needed her for.
Oh, that's more important.
Yeah. She helped me set up the shot and everything too. Amelia is the biggest star for helping me set up the cameras, the light. Ray and I put up the backdrop behind you, which took us longer than it should have.
Amelia, and this is not an HR thing. This is just going to be when you have a beautiful persona, makeup, it doesn't matter what you wear. Just always remember that. Where will you be in 11 years? 11 years. She's going to be on the mic for the A's.
And the Barracuda. Maybe the Sharks.
Maybe the Sharks.
Danny Miller, she's coming for you.
I think for myself, there's a good chance I might have grandkids in 11 years. Think about that.
Wow.
Yeah. What comes first? Trey Turner's contract ends in 11 years, or I have grandkids?
You have grandkids?
I mean, it's crazy to think.
I'm not trying to put you and your family in that predicament, but I'm putting you in that predicament.
Somebody really, Dave Dombrowski really just inked him up to 11 years. It's ludicrous. It's unbelievable. How about Verlander? Verlander gets 2 years, $86 million, no trade clause, a $35 million option for year 3. Boy, he couldn't wait to get out of Houston fast enough. Isn't that amazing? When you think about, one of the things I have a bunch of themes that I want to get into here. And one of the things that, to me, like free agency is, like, there's really cool things about free agency. I think Aaron Judge is what's cool about free agency, is here you got a guy that just had one of the greatest years that we have ever seen. I mean, the 2 greatest years of our baseball fandom that we have seen are Barry Bonds' 73 and Aaron Judge's 62. Actually, you know what? Throw in McGuire and Sosa.
I put McGuire and Sosa ahead of Judge.
Well, I wouldn't, because he was doing it legitly. True, I would put them below. Aaron Judge, what it did historically for the sport, I'll give you, no doubt. But Judge also played in the field and played center field and had a far better year statistically, where he led the American League in pretty much all of baseball in almost every category. But I think having a guy like that, who just was history, become a free agent is absolutely fascinating. So he's like the good of free agency, to where Jacob deGrom, to me, is the bad of free agency. I look at that and I go, oh my God, the Texas Rangers, you have the grand total, 746.
It was like, it was like I think it was over 750. And if he option kicks in, it could be close to 800 million they would have spent on players.
And 3 guys in their 30s. 3 guys in their 30s. They're going to spend almost $800 million, 3 guys in their 30s.
John Gray got a big deal. I think he is 30, or he's going to be 30.
I could just see pregame right now in the next couple of years with Jacob deGrom.
Gray's 31, so he signed a deal at 30 also. So that's 4.
It's going to be like we used to do with Garrett Cole and the Angels. It's going to be, it's going to be a 5-inning start, and then after that, it's all about the bullpens, and you got to beat the bullpens. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you're going to give Jacob deGrom? I mean, when the team that loves you, the team that raised you, the team that has been saving you all these years, right? The Mets have been babying deGrom for years. When the Mets go, wow, that's a bad deal, we want no part of it, and they got Uncle Steve, who's got more money than anybody, what does that tell you?
Yeah, they they got Verlander, but they weren't really keen on bringing him back. I mean,
they heard 5 years and went, they're like, swallow what 5? Because his agency took the deal back to the Mets, and I wonder if our buddy Sandy Alderson, who's still running the Mets, when they went to Sandy, he just laughed. You want what? You want to pay deGrom when he's 39 and 40 years old? Are you insane? So there's like the good of free agency and the bad of free agency. We will get into that. But Verlander, the Mets are an interesting call, because so much said stay in Houston or go to L.A. based off what we believed. See, I forget about greed. See, I got to go back to the great movie Wall Street and Michael Douglas, who won the Oscar. Did you ever see that?
Great movie.
Gordon Gekko, Greed is good. I always forget about greed, because no matter what the number is for Verlander, 25 million plus, whatever it is, all he cares about is getting to that number 300, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? He wants to get on a team that he knows is going to win 100 games, right?
56 away.
The Astros are going to win 100 games.
Yeah, I think we can pencil that in.
I'm pretty sure the Dodgers are going to win 100 games. They've got a lot they got to do, right?
But I pencil that in too.
Right? So, Mets?
Probably going to win 100 games.
Probably. But I wouldn't, like, if we're sitting in Vegas right now and we're like, all right, I got 100-win seasons on the board, Mets are not the team right out of the gate I'm betting.
No, you would go Dodgers and Astros.
But Verlander gets the deal. You knew Verlander was going to go to a team, because that whole, watch out, Detroit still wants him back. He's not going to Detroit.
What do you mean? They got Detroit of New York with Scherzer and Verlander.
I put it this way. I was on a plane this morning at 7 a.m. I was
early bird special.
I was shocked you weren't on it. And I'm like, there's hardly anybody on this plane. And I'm like, am I on the right plane?
Hold on. I'll give you one better. We were on a flight we took the 9 a.m. flight out of San Jose down here. And there's 56 people on a 143 seat plane. We get down. My wife is down here as well, but hanging out, and Ray and I are all on the flight. Ray sits at the end seat by the window by himself. Some lady walks in with a plane that's wide open and sits right next to Ray in the middle seat. And then my wife and I are just sitting there laughing.
You said something right. Put him on. You said something right. For humanity. This person needs to learn right and wrong of traveling.
She was elderly, so I didn't want to be rude.
What does that matter?
She got the hint, and after I took the median.
After you put your laptop on her?
She moved over to the aisle. But I told Cody, this is what I get for not owning the aisle seat. He was smart. He got on before me. I saw him. He was owning the aisle, maintaining eye contact. Like, this is my area. So I like the window seat. That's what I get for having an affinity for a window seat.
Here's a great thing for you folks. If you want to do that, here's what you do, okay? You take off your shoes and your socks. And you make sure the shoes, see, Amelia, look, see, you want to have that aisle to yourself? You just put the shoes, make the shoes and socks visible, and next thing you know, you're not going to have a problem. I literally got on the plane today, and I'm like, where's Cody?
Well, yeah, I got the text from you this morning, and you were like, I'm on my flight. Where are you? And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting in the shower. It's 7 o'clock. Why are you asking me where I'm at?
What the hell was I thinking getting on the 7 a.m. flight?
How many people are on? They usually tell you when people are on the flight. They told us 56.
I felt bad because I was there 6:15. My luggage is late. I'm like 6:15. You're ready. You're lucky I'm here at 6:15.
Yeah, I got there a little early, but I had all those bags to carry. By the way, how much do you think that bag, the Pelican case that our boss DA gave us, how much do you think it weighed?
150.
No, you're way overshooting. A little lower. I say a lot lower. 57 poundos, if you want to say it.
What is the limit on Southwest?
50. So I paid the oversized bag charge.
It's called,
hey, we got it all down here. It's all here.
Expensive. I like the Verlander deal. First of all, get his ass out of our division. How nice is that? Houston comes to town. No Verlander. That's great. That's so good. When I came, I got here. They had a room ready for me, so I knocked out for a little bit while you guys were in transit.
So they let you check in.
They let me check in, and I woke up and I saw the Verlander deal, and the first thing I went, thank God, get his ass out of the division. You realize how many? You know what? When Justin Verlander goes into the Hall of Fame, when they put that plaque up there, right? And it's going to have wins and strikeouts and blah, blah, Cy Youngs and all-star games and all that. At the bottom of the plaque, it should say on there, one of the reasons he's in here is how he's pitched against the Oakland A's and the New York Yankees. Right?
Yeah. I'll pull up his career numbers against the A's.
His career numbers against the A's are stupid. It is so great to get him out of the division.
We won't even include his playoff stats against the A's because it's
his playoff stats are stupid. Just take 12 and 13 alone. He pitched against us in 06, right?
Yeah.
He was like a rookie.
He would have been like a rookie, yeah. All right, let me pull up we'll go into a splits page on Baseball Reference. Old man Verlander. Remember,
what we are getting rid of, by the way. Remember he had a no-hitter going. We ended up beating him, but he had a no-hitter going against the A's earlier this year.
So there's so much stats on Verlander that you have to pull up here. In his career versus the Oakland Athletics, he is 16-7 with a 2.49 ERA and 27 starts in the regular season.
And in Houston, it was worse. It was worse. So you know what? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Kate Upton. Bye-bye, Verlander. But you know what? I used to hate the guy because there is a million reasons to hate this person. First of all, he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He signed one of the biggest contracts of all time. He's a scratch golfer. He's married to Kate Upton. The whole thing makes me want to throw up, right? I mean, the whole thing. Nobody should have it going. I followed him down at the AT&T. He was playing in the Celebrity Pro-Am. And I'm just like, and he's up there bombing it like 320. I'm like, I'm hating this guy even more. He's got everything. But now, since I want to see one last 300-game winner, I'm now going to root for him.
56 away, like I said. 56.
Are you rooting for him? Now, especially since he's a Met. Now I can officially be like, go get him, Verlander, because it was tough to root for him for an Astro, because I hate all of them. But now that he's not an Astro and he's not in our division, and you said Jeff Blummer's going to be here?
Blummer will be here at 3:30. Ray and I saw him when we first walked in this morning. He's the first person we saw.
Oh,
He's the first person we saw. 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 He's Last time it was Bobby Evans. This time it's Blummer.
He's friend of the both friends of the program.
Both Bay Area got one of them.
Hey, here's the deal. When you think about Verlander, you could say, all right, look what they won the World Series, and yeah, he barely survived that one game and got the World Series win. But don't think they didn't ride him in the regular season. That's the thing that, that's what we'll ask Blummer is like, what's the big thing you got to replace with Verlander? You got to replace him every 5 days. Every 5 days, you knew what you were getting.
They're very high. You're not going to replace him with Verlander with this guy, but they're very high on Hunter Brown, their prospect they called up last year. Great, but is he going to come in and win 20 games this year? Probably not.
He's just everything about when Verlander, you got to realize it's like there's certain athletes, like when they walk into a clubhouse or a locker room or whatever, they walk in, the dude has showed up, right? I've seen that. I've lived it. When Steve Young and Jerry Rice walked into the 49ers locker room, you're looking at two all-time greats.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? When Steph Curry walks in, back in the day, if Michael Jordan walked in, Larry Bird, when the guy shows up, when Tom Brady arrives, when Tom Brady gets off the bus in the suit, right? There's something special about these guys. And that is hard to replace. And we'll talk to Jeff Blum about this because, I'm sure he played with some guys who were like this. When it was their day to pitch, you knew you were winning. You knew the team was winning. And you knew expectations on your play, even though it should be high every day, expectations are, hey, I got to show up today. Verlander's on the mound. You lose that. And that's just, that's just a reality. So you could say, you can prospect me to death. He's not Justin Verlander. Oh, we just figured it out. The iPad was on. I knew something was going on. Like there was a weird sound.
Yeah, I kept hearing, I'm like, what's that echo? Why do I keep hearing an echo?
See, that's that. When you live in the radio world, when something's not right.
Yeah, I heard that echo.
You just keep going, but something like, is it the room? Is it?
Well, so I took the headset off, and I'm like, why do I? I'm like, is he? Are we echoing? And then I realized
something is. So this morning we got. Is that Rick Dempsey right there? I think that's Rick Dempsey.
Baltimore Orioles legend.
Yeah, we had
and
him
broadcaster.
We
a couple times.
Show. He's in the Orioles Hall of Fame, I believe. That's a great Rick Dempsey. So we got Cashman's extension. That's just come down.
Verlander.
We got Verlander.
Turner.
We got Trey Turner with one of the most ridiculous contracts I've ever seen.
And
I'm not hating on Turner. I came up. Did you see the questions that I had for the 4 shortstops?
Yes.
Did you like them?
Yes. I know how to fix the iPad problem too, if it's still going on.
You just got to turn down the volume.
Yeah, we got to join it without the microphone and camera access when we click on the link.
That's a great thing about the way we do this. We don't panic when stuff goes awry. We're not panicking. So
the other thing
I had 4 questions. I got these 4 questions for the 4 shortstops. Who's the best bet? Who's the biggest gamble or risk? Who's the best long-term option? Who will play shortstop the longest?
You want me to answer those for you right now?
No.
Okay.
But we know right now who's the longest term, but who's the best long-term option. 11 years, Trey Turner better be.
What was my prediction before we came down here, though? What'd I say? I said Correa 10 for 330.
Which is probably not that big of a shock now.
No, probably not.
Now that he got 330.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I want to dispel about the whole Correa. You realize that Correa is only like 7 months younger than Dansby? I was looking this up. We have played Correa off like he's at a junior high. And all these they're older guys. They're all older. They're all way older. He's 7 months. They're like the same graduating class. Do you look at anybody in your graduating class and you say, I'm older? No, you don't. Let me answer that for you. It's ridiculous that we're acting like Carlos Correa is so much younger than the rest of these guys because he's not. Coming up next, do we want to break?
Yeah, we'll break real quick.
Coming up next, we're going to find out what's happening with your Oakland Athletics right here in San Diego at the winter meetings. The general manager of your A's, David Forst, will join us right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine with your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Senior writer for MLB Pipeline Jim Callis stopped by A's Cast Live and discussed the prospects he likes in the A's farm system.
I like Ken Waldichuk. I think he's a little unheralded. I think Tyler Soder, like Shea Langoliers got there this year. I really like Shea Langoliers. I think having Shea Langoliers makes it easier to let Tyler Soderstrom do what he does best, which is hit. And it's always tough when you have a really offensive-minded catcher like Tyler was, where if you catch him, it detracts from his hitting because of the time you have to devote to catching and then the physical toll. So I think they're going to get more out of Tyler Soderstrom's bat.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrie locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
When Northern California businesses need some pop in their lineup, they call the bank rooted in the East Bay. Mechanics Bank. Since 1905, Mechanics Bank has been helping Bay Area and Northern California businesses find success and perform at the top of their game. See how they can make a difference in your business today. Call or stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
A's Cast Live continues from the town.
Oh.
Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, we love to
Yeah, I mean, I'd be crazy not to lean on him and his advice going forward. I mean, he is, officially now in an advisory role and going to work with John on some things as well. But baseball ops is obviously where his passion is, and he's got a ton of expertise and advice that we're all going to continue to lean on.
All right, so obviously Twitter is it's very deadly at this time because there's so many different things going out there, and it's really unfair to the players. But I mean, you've had to deal with already. I mean, walking in here today, people thought Sean Murphy was already traded, and that's not the case.
That is not the case. No, I had only been in the building for 20 minutes yesterday when apparently things, went wild on Twitter. I started hearing from clubs and writers. I had no idea what was going on. So that's part of the environment now, is that there've always been rumors. The winter meetings was always about rumors and what are you hearing in the lobby and what, talk to other clubs, and Twitter has sort of exponentially increased the reach of, I guess, those rumors. So no, I mean, you deal with it, and look, in a way, it being out there that Sean Murphy had basically been traded, it kind of accelerated some of those conversations in a way. I mean, clubs call like, what's going on? I thought we were in the middle of discussion, or or agents call and say, hey, I thought this happened. So it's weird. It changes your conversation and what you sort of want out there. But it also sort of helps things along, and we're all sort of always complaining about how slow the free agent market moves or how slow trade conversations go. Well, this is a week that has the ability to accelerate that.
But you are right now listening to offers for Sean?
I am. Yeah. I mean, we're having conversations. He's an incredibly popular player. He has been since the end of the season. I think I said that at the GM meetings when I talked to the media there. And it's obviously, an area where we do have some depth. And Shea came up and got his feet wet. I think, both those guys coexisted in August and September and did a great job. There's some depth elsewhere in the organization, but none of those guys is Sean Murphy yet. So I think we're open to seeing what the possibilities are. We have a lot of work to do on the major league team. I mean, obviously our goal this offseason is to make this team better in 23, to give Mark and his staff some more talent to work with. And if that is achieved potentially by dealing from a position of strength, then we have to explore that.
I've learned this from Mark Kotze, and I've learned this from Bob Melvin. You hate losing.
Okay.
You hate losing. And I want fans to know that, because in a year where you lose 102 games, it bugs you. You want to win.
We all come to the park 162 times a year, hoping to go home happy. I mean, I don't think that's unique to me, unique to our organization or anybody who works here. Like, it's not that much fun to go home with a loss. So, I was with Mark just about every night this year. I saw what he went through trying to get through the season where, he wasn't necessarily given as much talent as he probably deserves. And it's incumbent upon us to try and get better, to try and add major league talent. Like, now are we going to sign someone to a $300 million contract? Probably not. But we do have ways to get better and make the roster better.
Where are you going to be in 11 years?
I have no idea.
I've been asking everybody. I mean, the only person in this building that knows where they're going to be in 11 years is Trey Turner. No one else. Cody, like all of us are like,
right.
I mean, am I going to have grandkids at that point? I mean, 11 years.
None of us are getting full no trade clauses like that either.
I just like, wow. One of my themes, I always like to do themes, when we're down in spring training or an event like this, is how do the A's get better? How do the A's get better in these next 3 days? Really, it's 4. You were here yesterday. How do you guys get better these next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Well, we haven't, I've been asked that question a few times this offseason, and I haven't necessarily narrowed it down to like specific areas of the club or specific players. Like, I think we have a lot of room to improve. And I think, you look at the rotation, you look at the bullpen, the position player group, offense, defense. I mean, there are a lot of ways to do it. The bullpen maybe is one of the quicker, easier ways to improve. We had a handful of games last year that we just didn't nail down. And if you do win those games in the 9th inning, your record probably looks different. You win closer to 70 games and it puts a little different spin on the season. So the bullpen is an area we've always felt like if we can make incremental improvements and sort of move guys, back or forth in the game where they belong, that helps. Position player wise, I think we need to add offense. We really do. We have a few players, who took leaps forward last year, and Murph and Brownie, guys like Dermis Garcia came up and did a nice job. got to get Ramon healthy, do some things that improve the sort of the consistency of the offense, but we need to add some bats and some more consistent major league at bats. And then the depth of the rotation. I like the talent we have in our rotation and the guys we have coming back, but you know you're going to need depth. Part of the reason we asked AJ Puck to get ready as a starter, because we know we're going to need options and add to that depth. So it's a long-winded way of saying there's any number of ways we could make this team better.
Really an interesting spring coming up here for AJ, because it's like, okay, can he make it into the rotation? If not, there's now not that question of whether he can be successful in the bullpen.
Right.
You got that in your back pocket.
Yeah, no, he took a big leap from where he was 12 months ago. And I said the other day, like, he needed to go out and have a healthy season, and he did. And he worked hard to stay healthy, worked hard to be available, just about every night out there. And then when it was all said and done, he came to Kotz and to Emo and said, I'd like to have the chance to start again. So we're going to give him that shot. And yeah, he will be one of a number of things that we're looking to evaluate in the spring.
And people need to know right now, you're dealing with agents, you're looking to acquire players right now.
Yeah, no, that's been the case, all off season. Again, like I said earlier, this week has a tendency to accelerate things when guys start going off the table, and we've seen a couple signings, obviously the very top of the market with DeGrom and Verlander and Trey Turner signing, those have trickle effects on down, and other players and other clubs start making their moves. So we've had a lot of conversations with agents over the past few weeks. We've made some offers. We're involved in free agency and hope to get something done.
When we were growing up, everybody loved veteran managers. Everybody loved veteran players to help get you over the top. Like the A's did it in the late 80s. Then you saw the Toronto Blue Jays do that a lot when they won their 2 World Series, whether it's Winfield and Molitor and Stu and Jack Morris and those guys. The Yankees did that in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then all of a sudden that kind of went away. It feels like it's kind of coming back, right? Where you got Dusty, and then you got Buck Showalter, and now you got Bochy back in the game, and Verlander at 40 years old is getting 2 years. DeGrom at 35 is getting 5 years. So giving money to older players, veteran managers, is that getting back into the game?
I don't know about the managers part. I think that's just cyclical. As far as the players are concerned, I think their careers are getting longer. They're staying in shape. Look at some of the pitchers who are still pitching into their late 30s and 40s. Guys have done an incredible job of staying on the field. But anytime you're dealing in free agency, you've got guys, who've been in the league 6 or 7 years, and you're talking about more veteran guys. You want to be able to bring that experience into your club at the same time that it brings the talent with it. So it's nice to be able to compete for those guys. And anytime you can bring that experience, it's valuable. We obviously have a very young group. We brought up a lot of players from the minor leagues. We brought guys into the bullpen who didn't have a lot of major league experience. Anytime you can add some sort of, some leadership, some veteran presence to that, it helps.
When do you start setting your own expectations for the team? I know it's a long way to go. You got a lot of guys to sign, and you got that luxury of being able to take chances with certain players and bring guys to spring training. When do you, as a general manager, start going, okay, this is what I expect for 2023? Because I'm assuming coming out of the lockout was just like, who knows?
Yeah, that was such a weird timing and off season. We have historically continued to make deals into February and March. So I don't think until we get to, close to opening day, do we really feel like, okay, what do we have in front of us? And some of the deals we've made, later in the off season have been some of our best deals. So as exciting as it is to sort of be involved in things right now and to maybe say you came away from the winter meetings with a deal or two, I think we know that patience pays off. If you make a deal in February, it doesn't count any less than one you made in December. And I don't think we put necessarily expectations on the sort of the whole club until you get to some point in March where like, all right, this is what our 26-man roster is probably going to look like.
What I find interesting about what your job is, it's like so different. We're next to the Yes Network, right? And the Yankees. So the Yankees the Yankees don't come down to the winter meetings and go, are we buyers this year? Are we sellers? Are we just not doing anything? They have to do what they do. You, though, year to year changes, right? You go through a run where you've won X amount of games, all of a sudden you're in the playoffs for 3 straight years. So there's years where you come in as a buyer. There's years where you come in as a seller. And there's years where you coming up, maybe we're not going to do. What is that like, the difference in when you come here and the goals are far different?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we always want to come into the offseason with a chance to kind of maximize what we have to work with and to put the best team on the field. Last year was an aberration, I think, in my time here, and that we just didn't have the opportunity to build the club back up after we made the deals that we did. But you always come in with wanting to, use what's available, make the team as good as possible. Sometimes that involves selling, so to speak, and making trades of older guys to add to the young foundation. But it's a little bit of strategy. It's a little bit of like, hey, necessity, sort of that's what we have to do. So I think anytime we're here, we get to the offseason, you want to try and make the club as good as you possibly can. It happens different ways than, a big market club who always comes in with, money to spend on free agency.
Our fan base needs to know. Basically, you're given each year, whatever it is, and year to year it changes. You're given so much. Our fans need to know you try and maximize everything you're given.
Yeah.
Say, like, fans, it's like weird. It's like fans think that you have like this checkbook and you go, well, this year I don't want to spend. This year I do. That's not how it works. And they just don't want to accept it. But I want them to hear it from you, is that whatever and you say it with the rules too, whatever the rules are, we'll do whatever we get.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you're given, you're going to do everything you can to win like hell.
Yeah. We're going to try and spend what we can and try and make this team good. We're in a period as an organization where there's obviously a lot of uncertainty about the ballpark and future revenues and where this whole thing is headed. But we've operated with that, pretty consistently during my time here.
Yeah.
And we do, and we found a way to be successful. Like we've got a big hill to climb coming from where we were in 22, considering our division includes the world champs, a team that made the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. And frankly, a few teams that are all going to spend close to $200 million a piece. So it is a big task, but we believe we can get better. And that's where we have to sort of start.
A great analogy is that you've been playing the same golf course for a long time. You know where to hit it, where not to hit it. I mean, you play the same course every single year. Let's end on this. You personally, what has changed about you over the years from a young David Forst who got into this job, who, is saying, I should have been drafted out of Harvard in the first round.
I don't remember saying that.
So being that guy to like where you are today, you're a general manager of a Major League Baseball team. You've dealt with COVID. You've dealt with the lockout. You've dealt with a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of heavy stuff too. Just what is different about you now than when like you first came in the business?
I think it's only natural to sort of feel the responsibility of being in this position, whether that's about the people who work here, the players on the field, and the fans who spend their money to support this team. I think it's natural to feel a big responsibility to create something unique and something that people want to come see. So that's the biggest difference for me is like, I got into this line of work because I didn't know what else to do, because I loved baseball and I still do. But it was kind of a fun thing to do. I think now it is, you sort of feel the weight of it, and the A's are sort of their community institution. Like there are a lot of people who've been A's fans for 50 years and who come to the ballpark expecting to see, something that makes them proud. And that sort of the weight of that sort of follows us around of everything that we're doing.
And we got people who've worked for the team. We got people who work for you who have been here longer than you.
Yeah. No doubt. There are people who this, the A's are their life. And again, like I said, that's people who work here. It's people who support us. And you want to sort of keep the tradition going and continue something that's been going for a long time.
Please tell me, since you're in the room, you have a big room. Because back in the day, remember they used to, like ESPN used to show, and I remember they were doing the Manny Ramirez, and like obviously everybody's boozing late at night. but they're like in like regular small rooms with like queen size beds. Please tell me you got a big room.
We have a nice suite. I'll send a picture so you can trust. We can spread out.
How was your son's party at the chicken pie shop in Walnut Creek? How did it go?
I told you he went to a bar mitzvah party Saturday night. He had a great time. So I went and picked him up. It was the first time I'd ever made it out there. So now I know where to go.
We got to get more A's parties out there. We got to get, when you're looking to have that front office party, let us host you.
Okay, we'll be out there.
Well, back to your room. Have a good time.
Thanks, guys.
David Forst, the general manager of your Oakland Athletics, right here on A's Cast Live.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Coming in at 5'3", it's #1 mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity Internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Senior writer for MLB Pipeline Jim Callis was on A's Cast Live and discussed which A's prospect impressed him at the Arizona Fall League.
Zach Geloff kind of stood out to me the most. I'll tell you what surprised me the most about him. He looked pretty good at second base. I think of him as more of a third baseman. I know they play him a lot at second. He looked pretty good at second base when I saw him. I was there for a week. I'll go back to the final week too. But he was pretty impressive. I mean, I know he can hit. He's moved real quick in the minors. I remember I actually saw him for the first time in Arizona. We broadcast the MLB4 tournament. This would have been 2019. It was his first game he played in college. I remember watching him in BP thinking, I'd never heard of him. The way we split the draft in MLB, I have half the country, but I didn't have Zach Geloff, who's from New Jersey. So I didn't really know much about him. I'm like, man, this guy looks really good in BP. And then he hit 3 doubles in the game. But I think Zach Geloff, I think, the question is he a guy who's a solid player versus a guy who's like a cornerstone you build a team around? He might be more of that solid regular than a, true star you build around. But he looked really good in Arizona.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Hey, A's fans. You know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, you always love to have the big-time decision makers in the game, and Derek Shelton, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, joins us here, and just want to let A's fans know that, you know, as he sat down, we were talking about our beloved Ray Fosse, and your father used to they grew up together.
So my dad and Ray grew up in bordering towns in Southern Illinois. So the whole time growing up, you know, we always heard the stories about the Legion Ball battles or the Little League battles that my dad and Ray had. And I think as we were talking coming into it, when coming into Oakland, it was my favorite part, doing the pregame show with him, and being able to sit and talking to him and listening to him and Vince. I mean, someone that's sorely missed and definitely affected me because, you know, for a long time when I first started as a young coach, he was even a mentor to me as, you know, a broadcaster. He was a wonderful human being.
The Marion Mule.
Yes, very, very Marion, Illinois. Very, very good call.
I remember when he was so excited because we didn't realize that Illinois and St. Louis have like a joint Hall of Fame, and he was going into this Hall of Fame, and it was like a big deal.
Oh yeah,
and Ray, you know, Ray is so proud of his roots, and the one thing that Ray made everybody feel special.
That he did. And I think that goes back to, you know, why he so deeply affected me when I started as a young hitting coach in Cleveland, and, you know, he had Cleveland ties and just the conversations, you know, for a guy that was learning the ropes of the big leagues, he was extremely helpful. And I think, like you said, in your whole fan base, someone that's extremely missed. Yeah.
He was the one guy that married the 70s with the current. All the years Ray was either a player or broadcaster, so he kind of tied the bow for everybody, and he will always be missed. You know, with it, we would just have the general manager of the A's on, David Forst, and I think you guys at Pittsburgh Pirates, you guys are kind of in the same boat. And right now, it's looking to get better. My question for David, same thing for you, is these 3 days, how do the Pirates get better these next 3 days?
Well, I think, you know, we listen and we see what's available, but a lot of it is being able to be with our group and to talk about our young core. We're very similar to Oakland, that we had a lot of young players that we were able to get major league reps to last year. And there's nothing like major league reps. AAA in the big leagues, there's so much of a difference. And the one thing that we were excited about is our good young group of core players. We were able to get a lot of at-bats and a lot of innings for.
Well, yeah. And you know, the thing that when you look at getting better, it's like decisions that are made now, like people, they may not be the most exciting decisions, but for someone like you, it gives you more to win games. They may not be the sexiest, but they give you a shot at winning games.
Right. And I think that's the one thing we have to look at is what's best for each individual, you know, organization, what's best for the A's, what's best for the Pirates. And then the most important thing, and I think your point that you stated in the previous question, is how do we get better?
Yeah.
And once you get better, you'll start to win more baseball games. And that's what our focus is.
Carlos Santana, I couldn't believe this. MLB had this, like, since a certain date, he has played more games than anybody in Major League Baseball. Because you were thinking, all right, maybe it's Paul Goldschmidt, maybe it's Freddie Freeman. I didn't realize what a workhorse that you're getting.
Yeah, durable guy. I mean, he's a kid that I've known for forever. I mean, I was in Cleveland when we traded for him, and someone that we really targeted this offseason. And it was important for us to get a veteran guy like him. We need to stable up the first base DH spot, hits from both sides, and is an unbelievable guy in our clubhouse. And we have a lot of young Latin players, especially a lot of young Dominican players, and to add someone like Carlos into that group who we know is going to post every day, that was extremely vital for us. And we were excited to be able to make that move.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. I'm just kind of excited about how we're starting to like older players again.
I think older players provide value in a certain way. And to your point, if you can find an older player that posts every day like Carlos does and still produces, and then now we're talking about a guy with the way the rule changes have come into play, it's going to be advantageous for him that you're not going to be able to put an infielder 30 feet into the outfield. So there's a lot of positives that kind of steamroll this into this being a really good move for the Pirates.
Are you happy about getting rid of some of the stuff like shifts?
Well, I think it's going to be unique. I don't remember a time when I was in the game when we weren't shift oriented. I mean, I worked in Tampa when I think we started to.
You guys were the devil.
Yeah,
you made this happen.
We started to create it, but I'm interested with how the rule changes are going to affect the game, and then how the rule changes are also going to affect how you build your rosters and what you do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, some that are, the pickoffs. I mean, that I don't know if that sounds a little crazy to me. We'll see, but a lot of the stuff I like the bigger bags. Let's see if it gets more running. I think bang bang plays at first is going to change, but the number one thing for all of us, especially if you work after the game, pitch clock, speed it up.
Yeah, pitch clock. I think that's where people are looking this weekend of how it's going to be, how players work. We're fortunate in probably the A's and the Pirates both with having a bunch of young players that come to the big leagues. They will have played within this pitch clock. They will understand it. It's going to be the veteran players and how they react to it. And that's where I think we're going to learn a lot about it in the first 2 months of the season. It's definitely going to speed up the games. We've seen what AAA games, what the pace is. And the length of games have never been anything that's really bothered me, but the pace of games, I think, are the things that are the most important. And, we feel like we're going to be in a little bit of advantage because we've had a lot of players play within those guidelines.
That's a great point, especially for your bullpen guys, because we're so used to 100 miles an hour, then you wait 30-something seconds, 100 miles. Now it's you got to get it and go.
You got to go. So I think it's going to be, not only how you do it, how the starters recovery, how the health's going to be built into it. There's a lot of factors that after this first year, I think we're going to have a sample size to be able to build off of.
You got a kid that first time I saw him play shortstop, I went, man, you got a power forward playing shortstop. This Cruz kid is pretty unbelievable how hard he hits the ball. Like when you talk about his skill set, the greatness of his skill set, like, can you compare it to anybody?
No, you really can't. You get enamored with in the game today, we can track everything by StatCast. So how hard he throws the ball, how hard he hits the ball. The thing we're looking for O'Neill is just consistency. And one of the things that we're doing he's kind of a unicorn because of the fact that he is so big and he looks like an NBA player out there. And we have to realize that some of the mistakes he's going to make are just because his body has to continue to learn how to work, especially with his footwork, throwing airs, things like that. But this kid is special and he does things on the diamond that are special. And we're really excited that he's a Pirate.
Let's end on this. I think we're very similar organizations with tons of history, tons of pride. And that's something when Mark Kotze came on board last year and his first message, I got to hear it to the team about who we are when we go out to play. And I think about the great city of Pittsburgh, and I think of all the great players, the Hall of Famers. When I was growing up, how many, competing against them for all these years. Just what does that mean when you tell the guys, hey, Pittsburgh, being a Pittsburgh Pirate means something, and we're playing for this great tradition?
Well, I think it means a ton. And, one of the first initiatives when I got the job was the 21, and, we were able to wear 21, and now all Puerto Rican players are able to wear 21. So that's really important. But our players knowing the history, knowing, about Stargell, knowing about Parker, knowing, everybody knows about Roberto. Those are things that are important. And I think we have to make sure that when you have a rich history like that, you continue to embrace it.
The 79 team is literally like the first team I remember as a kid. So I remember Kent DeColvey, and I remember all these guys. Like Pittsburgh Pirates baseball was huge. I mean, I grew up here in San Diego, and I remember when Willie Stargell used to come take BP, Pops, and the Cobra, Dave Parker, obviously won a World Series with the Oakland A's. I mean, there was greatness. There was a lot of greatness coming up.
Yeah, there was. We talk all the time about if there was StatCast for Parker and Stargell, because, Stargell's one of the few guys that hit a ball out of Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
What those would look like, so those are conversations we do have. But I agree with Kotz. You have to embrace the history of your organization for young players, and they have to know what, the pride of wearing Oakland across their chest or Pittsburgh across their chest means, and continue to build on it.
Well, as we get out of here, my man here, Cody, come on. He's Pittsburgh.
We already talked.
I know.
Yeah. So let me know. We follow you because of him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, in Oakland, he's talking about you all the time. We're following you all the time. So,
well, I look forward to seeing you guys during the year this year. We play you guys.
I'll be there.
We'll be in good shape.
And you got we kind of think you may have the best ballpark in the game.
I'm very partial to that too. I definitely think we have the best ballpark in the game. There's nothing better than our skyline, our scenery. Last year, the Clemente Bridge was under construction for the whole year. So really looking forward to that tarp being off. And, it's a beautiful place.
Well, thank you so much for the time. We know you guys are busy and they got you moving all over the place. I believe you've already had your press conference, right?
No, I'm getting ready to go do that right now.
You got to do it right now. Hey,
yeah.
thank you
all
so
right,
much.
You
we
very
appreciate it. Yeah, I always like talking to the skippers, and we are going to be out here out west, Pittsburgh Pirate fans, no question. We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Bay Area locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Harold Reynolds was on A's Cast Live and described the phone call he got from Ricky Henderson in 1987.
Ricky's always talking in the third person, and I'm sure you guys have got to know him a little bit. And so, he may be playing cards and go, Ricky got a sweet hand. Ricky getting ready to sweat right now. Everything's third person with him. And so that year, 1987, is the only time in the 80s that Ricky did not win a stolen base title. And he's stealing at that time like 100 bases a year. So I ended up winning that year with 60. I think Ricky got hurt in May or something like that, and he already had 30 in May. So I win on the last day. Willie Wilson had 59. I had 59. I steal a bag. Willie Wilson doesn't. I'm the greatest of all time. I win the title, right? So I get home the next day, season's over, and my phone rings. No caller ID in those days. Hello? Henderson here. Hey, Rick, what's going on? I'm thinking he's calling to congratulate me. He goes, 60 stolen bases? You ought to be ashamed. Ricky, a 60th All-Star break. Click, and hung up the phone.
Oh, God, that is so good. That is so good. Oh, man.
So years later, he goes into a Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and, Ricky and I are tight. He signs a picture for me, and it has, stolen base champ, Ricky Henderson. I love it. It's on my wall at work.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Hey, A's fans, you know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
No. We're not in the town. We're in San Diego, California at the Manchester Grand Hyatt at the baseball winter meetings. Haven't been back since we were here in 2019. It's great to be here. We got Jake and Jordan from at Cespedes Barbecue, where we got to figure out, because a lot of A's fans, we were always like, what is this Twitter account? Is this actually, because we called him Yo. Is this actually Yo a part of this?
No, definitely not. No, he's not tweeting bad jokes about baseball.
We are.
So how did you take our guy, Yoenis Cespedes, and say, you know what? Because obviously out west early on, people knew.
Oh yeah.
And then we got good in 12 and had that historic run, and we brought down the Rangers. But most of the country still didn't know who Yoenis Cespedes was, a Cuban defector. They had no clue.
Right.
And you guys came up with this idea. How are we here?
Yeah. So we were reflecting on this even more than normal, because it's 10 years basically since we started this website and this whatever it is that we do together and talk about baseball. And we were in high school. We were seniors in high school. And I think after his rookie season, which let's go back farther than that, when he signed with the A's and before he signed with the A's when he was a free agent, he had this video that he sent to all 30 teams.
Yeah.
And it was like 25 minutes long, and he's, going slow-mo, running shirtless.
Jumping those stacks was amazing. Yeah.
Exactly. You see A's fans
know
exactly
we
what
know.
we're talking about. because the A's looked at that video and were like, yes.
Billy Beane saw him roasting a pig over an open spit and went, $36 million.
Yeah.
Book it.
Let's do this.
We know Billy Owens was all about it.
Billy
right?
O.
And Billy O was like, well, let's make it happen. And so much about that video was just like, this is so different and hilarious and weird. And also he's awesome at baseball. And so combining all those things and then the season that he had, that's kind of what inspired the name. But again, we weren't planning to explain it to A's Cast 10 years later.
That's the thing, right? Like when we did it, we were in high school in my parents' living room, and now we do a podcast for a living, and we write for a living, and we tweet like now it's our life, it's our job, and it's our world. But at the time, we were just two dumb kids being dumb.
Now, where did you guys grow up? Where did we start this?
Yeah, so we grew up in the same area in Maryland, right outside Washington, D.C. So on the D.C.-Maryland border, and we grew up about 10 minutes away from each other, and met in synagogue, like any good baseball blog does. And yeah, we were just, by the end of high school, it was like we're the only two people that wanted to talk about baseball all the time. And so that's really what started us, and we wanted to start our website. But again, it was really for us. It was more just like an outlet for us to kind of talk about baseball, put jokes about baseball and stuff like that. And then it kind of went from there with the Twitter account, and that, is what people sort of know it as today.
So I got 17-year-old twins. And I'm trying to think, as juniors in high school, if they came to me and said, Dad, this Cuban defector has signed with the A's, and a lot of the A's fans are going, are we blowing money on a Cuban defector game? Because I don't know if you know our history with Cuban defectors.
Yeah.
It's not so hot.
Yeah. That's
so so if my kid said to me, yeah, this is going to be our life.
Yeah.
And we're going to make a career out of it. Like,
but that's
think about that.
Well, we didn't do that, right? We did end up doing that, but it wasn't the plan. It wasn't this is going to be a career. I mean, it was until almost the end of college where we were like, wait a minute. I guess we should probably try to pursue this because enough people were following us, and then MLB reached out and hired us out of school, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, now we do a podcast. Which, if you're listening, if you're like, hey, these guys are interesting, I would like to listen to them talk about more than just themselves and the A's. You can do that. Baseball Barbacast on Sirius XM Radio. We're recording
at Cespedes Barbecue, at Cespedes BBQ on Twitter, of course.
That's us.
Yeah, and I gotta say, we might as well, if we're gonna transition to some A's talk. We've the last few years he's been kind of not playing baseball, but we never got an official retirement. And A's fans quite often have said, like, come on home and play your last season in Oakland.
Limp around the Coliseum.
Let's do it.
We loved him.
I mean, and he's even kind of alluded to this possibility in the past about how much he loved it there and how he would want to go back. So
I want to ask about the trade, because how do people look back on the Yoenis for John Lester trade within the context of the most painful game maybe in A's history, the 2014 wildcard game against the Royals, where Lester could not throw to bases?
I broke the trade.
So you broke the trade.
I broke the trade. So I got
so
I was doing morning radio at the time on the A's station. We've now switched. That's ancient history. On my way there, I got tipped off to the trade. I broke the trade. And at first you thought, man, we're getting a big game killer, right? And Lester, that's what we need. We need this guy that's gonna, but then we're like, we're getting rid of Yo. He was the show pony.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and you look at 13 and 12, he was the guy when no one else hit against the Tigers. He did.
Yeah.
And he was the one guy that people would actually sit and watch. The other teams would sit and watch him take batting practice. He was our star, right? And to get rid of him absolutely deflated the team.
It is really crazy.
Also,
it is crazy to think about in retrospect. Like he was hitting in the middle of the lineup for a team that was winning the division, I believe, at the time.
2 straight years,
2 straight years, and they just traded him away at the deadline.
It also deflated him because then he went to Boston and
he hated it.
That was not a fun few
Told
months.
Bob Melvin he couldn't wait to come back. He'll do anything to come back. Like
there you go. So
he and Melvin had a really close relationship. It really didn't work for anybody because, home run derby with the Mets. There's a little time with the Mets, but he never recaptured what we thought he could.
He did with the Mets. He did in 2015. I mean, he carried them to the postseason.
But you think about what he was with the A's?
I guess in terms of, the Mets had some other pieces, but no, I think the 15 run
2015
was a pretty big
run.
I
mean, he put the Mets on his back.
Right. After that trade, it was the opposite.
But that's a very little,
as
people in these halls like to call sample size.
Sure.
He was trending with the A's like. He stays here long term. He's very comfortable. You're not talking. You're talking about perennial all-star.
Yeah.
And he was traded.
And then again, in terms of from our perspective, in terms of getting traded now, all these Red Sox fans follow us because that was the thing. People were like, "Oh, are these guys A's fans?" And we were like, "No, very much not that." But we were also like, we are very much not Red Sox fans. We are not Tigers fans. We are not Mets fans. But that's fine. We got the fans to find that. And then people made it clear. It's like, oh, no, they're just Yo fans. That's what they are.
You bring fun to baseball.
Yeah. Well,
which a lot of people don't.
That's what he does. Right. And that's kind of, and also very just weird stuff happening to him all the time, which was plenty interesting for us to talk about. But yeah, man, I just miss watching him play. I mean, he played a little bit in the Dominican Winter League this winter. So I got to watch a little bit of that. But yeah, he's, his days in the big leagues might be over, as I've started to kind of accept.
So with you guys, the goal as you guys continue to grow, what is it about what you guys want to do? Where you want to
cover and do a little bit more actual, capital J journalism, which is not something we really certainly ever thought we'd be getting that opportunity to doing our writing for Fox Sports. I mean, we can't ask for much more. We just want to keep growing and keep getting people to join us because we're just trying to have a good time. I mean, it's not totally crazy complicated, and we like to think that it's very easy to. We're never going to say that we have the most analysis or the most insight, although we've gotten a lot of experiences over the last few years where it's like we have talked to a lot of people and a lot of players and a lot of people in the game that have given us more insight than we certainly had 10 years ago when we were in high school.
Yeah, we backdoored our way into it.
Yeah.
We fell, ass backwards into knowing what was going on. Where at the beginning, like, we were just making stupid jokes. But if you spend enough time around the game and talk to enough smart people, you're just going to learn by osmosis. And even two dumb dogs like us can learn some new tricks.
Yeah, but also just attitude-wise, it's still what's driving us. Like, we have to. What's going to drive anything that we're doing is that we just love baseball and want to keep talking about it to anybody anywhere. So as long as that's going, then we're good.
Well, the cool thing is traditional, we'll call it terrestrial radio, cable television, it's all dying. So what you need to do is create new, fresh, interesting, fun, quality content. And if you do that, people will find you. And that's what's happened to you guys. And so there's guys like you who are now in high school and in college, right? And they want to do it like what we're doing. I mean, what everybody's doing, it's all something that's different and creative.
Yeah, and we were. I mean, we were slightly early in terms of our earliest versions of our podcast, but yeah, it's very cool and humbling now to have high schoolers, college kids reaching out to us, being like, "Hey, how do you do it?" It's like, just name it after some awesome Cuban player and you'll be great.
Yeah, it's really
fun. It's really straightforward.
So easy, dude.
But it's like we work really hard, but I mean we got lucky in so many spots along the way. And you just, you got to do it because you love it, not because you hope that a lot of people are going to follow you on Twitter, because that's not a good strategy.
No, it is not. And then that's how you end up with people pretending like they're breaking news on the internet.
Yeah.
With who like, oh, sources are saying, oh, you don't have sources. Just do the thing that you know how to do it well. Go to the places other people don't want to go. Go watch minor league games. Listen and learn when you're young, and the rest will fall into place.
Who are your teams?
So Mariners for me.
Orioles for me.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Mariners.
Mariners. I kind of latched onto them. I didn't really have a team growing up. We had the Nationals come when we were 10, but they were really lame and terrible. So I wasn't really into that. And then Felix Hernandez is really the guy that latched me into Mariners fandom. And yeah, I was there when Cal Raleigh hit the home run. So
really,
I planned that trip a few months in advance, and I happened to line it up, hoping to see them clinch, and it was the best possible thing. I can still see Tony Kemp sitting out there in right field watching the celebration. So
yeah, back in Oakland, it looked pretty wild. And I felt, you know what, I felt good for him because I'm like, nobody should have the moniker, we're the longest drought by a lot.
Yeah.
01, you're thinking, 01, I got married in 01. I mean, how long ago was this? The fact that that's been that long, I was happy for the Mariners. It's a great sports town.
Yeah, and for the A's too, they've had these swings, and it's I don't know how much you guys want to talk about the current A's, but yeah, it's
you want to talk about 102 losses? I can tell you about every one of them. It's a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite? Does one of the losses stand out?
I have a favorite. I saw it. It was Cal Raleigh's walk-off.
Well, I actually had a little game. We were playing a game. We used 64 players. I'll give you.
Oh my God!
I'll give you $100 if you can name the 64 players. I'll give you $10,000 if you could say their numbers to go with the names.
I'm very bad with jersey numbers, but I mean,
no one can do it.
Okay, Sam Mole, there's one.
Cal Stevenson.
How many do I need to go? Oh yeah,
think
Connor Capel.
You want to know what's even crazier is that our last series was against the Angels.
Yes,
they used 65.
Yeah.
You had two teams using 64 and 65 playing the last three games.
Did Brent Honeywell get into a game?
No,
no, he didn't. He was chilling in
Vegas.
Vegas.
They tried.
He was chilling in Vegas.
Everybody else.
They tried.
Did not work out for our man Brent.
Where are you guys based?
So I live in Indiana now. So now you're really confused. But yes, I live in
Jordan
Indiana.
is worldly.
Yes.
Cuban baseball player.
Yeah.
Grew up in DC,
New York,
Ohio,
went
New
to
York,
school in Ohio.
Indiana.
Lives in Indiana where they're
close to the Reds. Yeah, Mariners fan. Yeah, I'm the Mariners fan.
I live in
Indiana.
New York.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Now we got some.
Heard of it?
Yeah,
New York City. Yeah.
They got some teams.
Yeah.
2, 3 if you count the Cyclones.
And you're going to talk the hot dogs and the
yeah. If you Absolutely.
By the way, I'm a San Jose State graduate. The great Joey Chestnut continues to dominate the.
And is there a statue of him?
Hey,
we need next to Bill Walsh. We should put one.
Hey, where does Joey Chestnut live? Indiana.
Boom, roasted like a hot dog.
Yeah.
Does he really?
That's a fact. He's an Indiana native now.
Because it wasn't that long ago I saw him before COVID in a bar in San Jose. And we were like, Joey Chestnut.
I know he's from San Jose, but yes, he makes his home.
What is he like at a bar?
We've
He's
interviewed
like,
Joey.
whoa, just throwing him back.
We saw
everything
Joey
he does.
We saw he was a very, very nice to us at the 2017 celebrity softball game.
I think I was like, do you think you could eat a baseball? And he was like, that's a dumb question.
Yeah.
Like the amount, like we were talking about, like what chicken wings, and then he can even do like mayonnaise. It's like,
oh yeah, when that is the underrated part of the hot dog contest is when they tell you all the other stuff they've eaten.
I'm good
during the regular.
Because you're a competitive eater.
Yeah, you're
like you have
eater.
different events.
It's a season. Yeah, exactly.
Joey Chestnut once ate 375 eggs in a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow.
All right.
New York, DeGrom.
Yeah.
How did they feel? And now, how you feeling with Verlander?
So if the DeGrom departure had happened 4 years ago under the old ownership group, I think it would have been very sky is falling. But there was a real belief among Mets fans that was like, oh, well, Steve Cohen's just going to pay somebody else a lot of money. And so when DeGrom left, I don't think people panicked in the same way that they might have in the past. And that was proven correct right away, where Verlander this morning signs with the Mets, and it's in the next 3 years, who'd you rather have, DeGrom or Verlander? I think it's pretty close. I would probably have Verlander just because he posts more, he throws more often,
Well, I can tell you, someone that we go up against him constantly.
Yeah,
I know he's showing up every 5 days, and I know he's going to
days.
shove it down your throat.
It's funny because it's like, oh well, who are you going to replace the 2-time Cy Young Award winner with? Oh, maybe the 3-time Cy Young Award winner.
What is that like, living in a city where there's all this money and you can just buy players whenever you want? What is that like?
I don't know.
How are you asking?
I don't know because I don't
want that. I want that. I want that feeling.
No, you don't.
Pretty cool.
No, you don't. Well, you want.
Yes,
to.
you
Yeah.
do.
Come on,
Yes,
what are
you do.
tired? Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't act like
a
that's
new
not what-
ballpark.
Oh, that thing would be nice. That's
that
fine.
stuff,
There are
yeah.
ace players I like.
I think we start small. I think we try and get payroll over 40 mil, and then we can talk about everything else after that.
140. and
Yeah, we were pretty
240
happy
mil.
a few years ago at 90. We thought we were riding high at 90.
Was that the peak?
Yeah, no, it got to like 101. What would it get up to?
Did it get over
101.
100?
Made some trades. It was like
Yeah.
101 at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that was the peak of the power.
You should throw a parade for that alone. I mean, throw a
Put
parade
up a
for
banner.
for crossing 100 million in payroll.
But the one thing that's crazy about the A's is that it's never long. You're never that far out. It's always 3 years win, 2 years off. 3 years win, 2 years
True.
off.
Now,
Keep telling
probably
yourself that.
more than
I think
2
it
years
This
off.
one might be,
This
yes.
is gonna
But you
be-
know what? They said the exact same thing after
That's
we
true.
traded Yo.
That's
They
true.
said after 14 and the Royals debacle,
That's true.
everybody's like, you guys there's no, and the next thing you know, here comes
They're
3
back.
straight. Yeah.
No, I know. This is quite the hole though, and especially now with the AOS kind of being where it's
How
at.
about that? No one really talks about it. You think of the money that
Yep.
has come in. Well, you just think the Texas Rangers alone.
Yes.
We still have the, what's going to happen with Ohtani.
Mhm.
We know all the money that's into Trout and Rendon and everything. But the Angels are interesting. Your Mariners now
Yep.
are becoming a chic pick. And
Yep.
then, of course, the Astros are the Astros. ALS doesn't get a lot of play, but the ALS is actually a very interesting division.
Yeah, no, and right, the contrast between Oakland becomes even more stark when you have, because now that the Angels have lost 7 years in a row, so yeah, we know they've spent money and it hasn't worked. But yeah, when Texas is throwing it around like this, I mean, now we're really in a new era of AOS baseball.
Whenever the A's dig themselves into this hole, to me, it's like Houdini being like, look, David Forst is like,
Yeah.
look what I can
How
get
can-
out of this time. Like,
yeah.
Just straight jacket
Yeah,
into the
he's like-
water in the
like-
locked box.
he's like drowning.
We'll
and
be
it's-
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
3 years
It's like,
later. Oh, there he is.
How are you not finishing fifth? Oh my God, they did it! Oh, this is incredible.
I'm telling you, as you watch it, like 2012 is a greatest example. I remember we were going to, I know we got to go, but we're going to Japan to play the Mariners,
yes,
right?
I remember that.
And
game
I remember
very well.
being on the tarmac and watching the players go up going, oh my God, this is going to be the worst year. We go to Japan. Mariners,
Yo homers. First career homers.
We lose both games.
Yep.
Both games are started by
Well,
when Bartolo Colon and Brandon McCarthy.
Well, when you're facing Blake Bevan, you watch out.
And then you think at 12 how historic that was. That's how crazy it is with the A's. Just when you think, oh my God, it's doom and gloom, boom, we're back.
I know. Now that said, wouldn't count on that this season.
Lot
But
of-
we'll see.
A lot of doom.
No,
see.
this is
There's
only
a-
year 2. Remember, it
I
takes
know.
3 or 4, and then there's a guy.
Have they
named-
considered every year? Have they thought about like a strategy?
That's where I
they're-
said if I can
you
if we
thought
had
about
Uncle
that?
Steve. No,
every
well,
year you could be good every year.
it's a ballpark thing. It's complicated.
All right, yeah, you can explain it to
Politics.
me
You want
later.
it. You want it to be like the St. Louis Browns and the Cleveland Spiders, where you have Steve Cohen buys the A's also,
Yeah,
and then maybe shares some of his players onto Oakland. Although in that scenario, he'd probably just take all the Oakland players and put them on. The
can I
Mets.
share a selfish take about the A's that I have?
Go ahead.
I think the Coliseum rules, and I know that it is objectively bad. Like I'm not blind.
Here's your last dive bar. It's one of our
Okay.
sponsors.
There you go.
There you go. That's my point, is that there is value in baseball in having one stadium that looks like it was built in 1960, whatever the heck.
66, yeah.
66. There's value in that. We can compare it. If every stadium looks like Citizens Bank Park or the Nats
That's
Park,
true.
it's boring. I want one enormous concrete dump to endure the test of time. And unfortunately, that is
It's our dump.
Your cross to bear. It's your burden to bear. So I am the one. I keep the A's in Oakland. Make the Coliseum.
new
Because here's the
stadium.
thing: in 30 years, it's going to just be like Fenway, man. Think about it. It'll be historic.
Well,
you
I think-
wait long enough. Right now, it's a dump. You wait another 20 years, it's going
Hot-
to be historic.
Hot take Monday. I love it.
The problem is,
I love the Coliseum.
right? Yeah.
Is it going to be a historical landmark?
Yeah, it should be. It
I
should
feel
be.
like-
Kind of like Wrigley and
Take-
Soldier Field and
take-
Fenway.
Take down Mount Davis.
I just
Blast it into the thing that covers the view.
What is that?
Get
That's
rid of
Mount
that.
Davis.
Mount
Yeah, it
Davis. Al
Yeah.
Davis put it up.
right.
Just win, baby. And he get rid of that, and you got yourself a historical landmark. I'm telling you.
The Oakland
telling
Hills
you.
are back.
I'm
Right.
telling you, man.
You
Coliseum
don't need those
rules.
seats right now.
You know what?
Whoa.
If that ever happened, that's true. If that ever happens, I want to give you credit. If someday we're standing there making the Oakland Coliseum a historical landmark, I guarantee you we have fans
Right.
listening, watching now, loving you for that.
But think about it, dude.
At Cespedes BBQ,
In
if
ni-
you're
keep
going to
the
love.
Coliseum.
In 1965, there were probably Red Sox fans being like, "We got to tear down this dump."
Oh, Wrigley,
Right?
they wanted to get out of Wrigley.
That's what I'm saying. And if you wait long enough, it becomes cool.
a lot
Style
of
too.
A lot of young fans don't even realize because they think of got to get rid of the dual sports. But what do you think Fenway and Wrigley was?
Yeah,
the,
that's true.
the Patriots played at Fenway. The Bears played at Wrigley Field. Those were the original dual stadiums.
But I like of you thinking about this as like a national anthem standoff of like who's going to build a new stadium for their crappy, decrepit. I mean, this seems like the problem with the Coliseum is actual like functionality. Like it's truly,
it's old.
like it's not
plumbing
working
and-
anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which again, there's
Fix it.
charm.
Fix it.
and just leave
Keep
the
See,
the
the
show.
bones.
trop, are you
Leave
going
the
with the
show.
Trop? You talking about Tampa?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Because it's
they're
not
both
that
good.
old.
No, I
Trop
know,
is not
I
close
know,
to that
I know
old.
the Trop isn't that old, but I'm saying compared to Fenway and Wrigley, but no one is rooting.
You
to tear
guys
those
watch
places down.
HGTV?
No.
You anybody here? No one watch HGTV?
Which HGTV are you?
I watch all the shows.
Okay.
House Hunters, Fix Them Up, Fix Them Down.
You know what?
Turn
I
Around.
do watch some of them. My wife
You know what I
loves
mean?
those shows. Yes.
There's these two people come in, hammer nail.
So
your
you're just trying to
stadium's
fix
got
it
good
up.
bones. It's got good bones. It's got a bad belly or like a bad underbelly.
Actually, our bones are really bad.
I was gonna say.
Just fix the bones. Keep the
You know
Coliseum.
what they found? Hey, here, let me tell you. You know what they found out? It's cheaper to tear down and build new
That's
than
the
fix
thing.
the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
Right.
like I got in a car crash and they were like, "Here's money. You're not going to
Just
get this
it's
fixed.
a limit. Get it out.
Get it out."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will die on the. I won't die on this hill, but I'll get hurt on this hill.
Hey, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people they're going to agree with you.
They love it.
Save it.
Save the Coliseum. Sure.
Gentlemen, thank you for your
Thank
time.
Think if they had gotten rid of the original Coliseum in Rome, there'd be nothing left. They had demolished the original Coliseum. Think about that.
There will be
Wouldn't have as many tourists.
I was going to say, well, there will be tourists flocking to that parking lot.
Thank you.
Oh, there
Can
it
you
is.
imagine all the people in the concrete and the asphalt standing out there going, the
They're like,
Coliseum.
Wow, Derek Barton played here once.
I traveled from all over the world to watch
This is where
because
Derek Barton walked.
Jamal
120
Weeks was
times.
supposedly going to be a star.
Yo, I love Jamal
Oh,
Weeks,
Jamal Weeks.
man.
Anyway, thank you for having us on. Everyone, remember, if you think that we're relatively entertaining, you can listen to this all the time.
Hey.
Baseball Barbercast.
Can I say one more Ace thing?
Go ahead.
Sean Murphy gonna get traded. Seth Brown's your all-star, folks. Seth Brown's your all-star. You need an all-star. He's going to be your all-star. There you go.
Paul Blackburn.
I'm sticking with Seth Brown. Seth Brown.
Coming from a Mariner fan.
There you go.
Right here.
Love Seth Brown.
On A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Hitting the road with the family. On your way to nonstop adventures. No worries ahead, because you know you can stop at a Chevron station along the way. Get fuel for your car, fuel for your crew. That's Chevron with Techron for unbeatable mileage and snacks for all. Coffee for mom, chips for the kids, cold drinks for dad. You know, for the road ahead. Toss in some laughs, out-of-tune singing, and a zillion "Are we there yet?" And you just made lifelong family memories. Chevron, together ahead.
The skipper, Mark Kotze, was on A's Cast Live and discussed his message to the club heading into the offseason.
I was loud and clear yesterday. We had a discussion about obviously what we've done this year, how we've grown, and the expectation level for next year in terms of the preparation, right? And it was built off yesterday's or the night before's game in terms of, you know, just the transitional from the guys that are on the roster that won't be here, the guys in the room that should be here, and the guys in the room that, you know, need to continue this culture. And that's that grit, right? We talk about this long-term perseverance, you know, this commitment to a goal, right? And it starts now, and it starts in their training for this offseason. So like you said, no guaranteed contracts, 33 rookies, 64 players, I think, or more.
64.
You know, and just the focus has to be, we're going to come out next year, we're going to continue to incrementally and get better, but with the expectation to win.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
When Northern California businesses need some pop in their lineup, they call the bank rooted in the East Bay. Mechanics Bank. Since 1905, Mechanics Bank has been helping Bay Area and Northern California businesses find success and perform at the top of their game. See how they can make a difference in your business today. Call or stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
We haven't even talked about the Crime Dog getting the Hall of Fame.
It's about time.
No, I'm kind of saving that for Brian Kinney because
Susan too,
and Susan
she was on the committee.
Susan Slesser, our friend from the San Francisco Chronicle, will be by. One thing I really want to stress. With a lot of people that we're growing up in a time where it's bigger news about who doesn't get in than who does get in. I want you to think about that. Bigger news, and this has been happening. It used to just be Pete Rose. It was Pete Rose, it was gambling, and everybody understood. But now it's so beyond that. It's more guys who deserve to get in don't get in than actually guys who do get in. And the guys who truly deserve to get in are not getting in, and they're trying to find ways to have fringe guys get in. I mean, it's literally crazy what's going on. It's unbelievable. And I don't know how it's good for business for the Hall of Fame. It's not good for baseball. And what people then need to realize also is that we're finding new ways to not like guys, right? Now, Kurt, we haven't liked Kurt Schilling because of politics and because of things that he's put out on Twitter. Call it hate speech. Now here's Carlos Beltran in the Spygate. Well, if this is going to be an issue with Carlos Beltran, that means like 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 years from now, we're going to be dealing with this still with Jose Altuve and Bregman.
Yeah.
So it's like we're talking about when did Pete Rose sign with Bart Giamatti, sign the document saying that he'd be banned from baseball? What year was that? It had to be in the 80s, late 80s.
I'm going to look. It was in 1989.
All right.
March 6, 1989.
From 1989 till today, 2023. Think about that. That is a long time. And now we're going to go through 10 years of Beltran. Let's say he doesn't get in because of cheating. 10 years. And then we're going to wait for Altuve to come and now discuss this. You're talking over 50 years of constantly talking about why guys can't get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, at some point, are we finally going to realize that this is vindictive?
Do you need to bring that up again?
And this is ridiculous. It's going to be over 50 years. The biggest stories are why guys don't get in versus why guys do. 50 years.
I mean, I think I sent you the totals last night. Let me pull it up. Crime Dog was unanimous. He got all 16 votes.
Even though Chipper wasn't there.
Chipper wasn't there. He was replaced by someone from the Diamondbacks, Derek Hall. I can't remember. I thought I took the name of who it was. But it was all 16 votes. I think I saved it. 16 for McGriff, 8 for Donnie Baseball, 7 for Kurt Schilling, 6 for Dale Murphy, Albert Bell, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Rafael Palmeiro all got fewer than 4 votes out of the 16 ladies and gentlemen on the panel.
Basically no one had a chance other than
you had to get 12 and McGriff was unanimous. So yeah, I mean Donnie Baseball is still four votes short. Now, was Donnie Baseball voted on by all of his peers? Did all the former players vote for him? And then maybe one writer or executive? Because how did he get on? Or did the writers vote for him and none of the players believed? I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, we'll never know unless they release the vote, but I'm with you. I mean,
it's making it really complicated. And if you're like a kid growing up right now, and I'll just look at the business aspect of it. If you're growing up in your entire life, let's say you're a teen, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s right now, and your entire life, all you've heard about is this black cloud of all these guys who can't get in and shouldn't get in and everything. At what point do you say, Cooperstown, New York is really hard to get to? All right. Cooperstown is out in the middle. It's out west. It's not that far from Buffalo. You can fly. The closest big airport, I guess, would be Albany, the capital of New York. And I've done that. You fly into Albany, and it's like a 45-minute drive. This is not easy to get to. I mean, at what point do people just stop going? I'm not going to say entirely. I think it's always going to attract people, but popularity-wise, I mean, it's just been a negative stench for so long that I don't know how is it good for the game? I mean, I don't know how. I mean, sometimes bad news can spark things and be good for the game, but I mean, this long, this many years, so much of the conversation is about it's not about the joy of it, right? It's not about getting in, new Hall of Famers, new plaques. It's more about who doesn't get in, who shouldn't get in, why they shouldn't get in, why we're the judge and we're the jury and all that. I mean, at what point do people, especially younger people, start to get just turned off and not care?
I don't think we're at that point yet, but I mean, it's getting a little bit, I wouldn't say annoying, but I want to see these guys going. I know we're going to fixate on Curt Schilling and what he did off the field and Twitter and all that stuff, which, again, we don't condone any of it, but I'm looking at what Curt Schilling did as a baseball player on the field. And this is where I can't stand the morality clause and the character clause, because like we talked about, not all of the guys, but a lot of the guys in the NFL Hall of Fame, they wouldn't be in if they had a morality clause.
Oh my God.
I mean, you could name several guys off the top of your head that wouldn't be in.
I'm going to give you two. That under these standards that we have, we would not put Lawrence Taylor.
For sure.
And we would not put Ray Lewis.
Yeah, of course not.
Ray Lewis would not get into the Baseball Hall of Fame right now. Just think about that. Think about how great Ray Lewis was as a football player. 2-time Super Bowl champion. One of the elite linebackers who have ever played the game. But there's some dark clouds over Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis wouldn't get in. I mean, I'm not even, I mean, think of something that, I mean, would Deion Sanders get in?
Oh, well, you're talking about, the player.
Not head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes.
Sign me up for Colorado season tickets,
I'm
man.
all in.
I can't, I mean.
Deion Sanders is the head coach? I love it.
Telling kids to transfer and his son's going to be the starter. His son's going to be the quarterback, but he has to earn it. Congratulations to Boulder for getting Deion Sanders. But yeah, he's another one. I mean, Charles Haley. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Charles Haley, no chance.
There's a lot of guys that would.
Michael Irvin.
There's a lot of guys that wouldn't go in.
I mean,
there was stuff surrounding Peyton Manning with stuff that happened before with.
Once we went into the Me Too era, and there was stuff that happened to him with a potential trainer or two.
Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys, if you look at the morality and character clause, they wouldn't go in. You can say about any sport. Hockey, basketball, I don't know what golf.
So I wonder what we need. Do we need to? Oh my God, Tiger Woods.
Oh, he's top of the list. Yeah.
Do we need some more accountability from the voters? Because it can be easy just to vote and then you just don't give your vote. You don't tell. Like, we don't know. So if I have a ballot, if I'm somebody who's been if I've been in the Baseball Writers Association for over 10 years, I can have a ballot, right? I don't have to tell you who I voted for. I don't have to make it public. This committee, the Contemporary Committee, we don't know. There's 16 of them. We don't know who they voted for unless they all come out and tell us. So we don't know. We know everybody voted for Fred McGriff, but we don't know who voted for Mattingly, who voted for Schilling, we don't know unless they're going to tell us. And maybe Susan will want to tell us. Maybe she won't. We'll respect it either way. But until people have to explain why they do it, it's a flawed system. It's a very, very flawed system. And really, I can't put this on baseball. You have to put it on the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame, they're an independent entity. They're an independent business. They're not run by Major League Baseball. The commissioner of Major League Baseball does not have reign over the Baseball Hall of Fame. Just does not. I know a lot of people think that, but that is not the case. So it's really the Hall of Fame it's got to kind of think about how they do their business. And I could be completely wrong. I just don't think it's good long-term for them, the way this has all been going and how it's going to continue to go. At some point, there's going to be people turned off who don't want to spend the money on the flights. And by the way, staying in Cooperstown, New York is really expensive. It's really expensive. The whole process is expensive. What point do people just go, I mean, at what point does it just diminish Hall of Famers? At what point do you just, he's a baseball Hall of Famer? You're like, yeah, the Hall of Fame.
I think we're getting there because of the guys we're keeping out. I mean, we always talk about, can you tell the history of baseball without Barry Bonds,
No.
Roger Clemens? Yeah.
No.
Kurt Schilling in a postseason.
No.
Pete Rose. You
No.
can't tell the history of the game. It's a museum. It's a museum highlighting the greatest moments and players of the game. And this is what we've come to. We're always going to talk about the Hall of Fame, and we got the vote coming up. They're going to announce the inductees, which could only be one guy, maybe Scott Rowland. If not, could only be Fred McGriff.
If we're in a world where you're keeping out the guy that has the all-time hits, you're keeping out the guy that's got the all-time home runs, most MVPs, you're keeping out a 52 game winner with 7 Cy Young awards. Clemens have 352.
I know he has 7 Cys, but
am I dead on? Am I dead on? Tell me I'm dead on.
Clemens has 354.
Shortchanged him too.
Yeah, he wants us 2 wins.
Sorry,
back.
Roger. So you're gonna deny these guys, but you're gonna like really root for Scott Rowland. No offense to Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland, you cannot compare Scott Rowland. You talk about going into that plaque room in the greats, and you think about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, and you're talking Scott Rowland.
Yeah.
Scott, what? Now, and this is the other one. I'm so happy for Fred McGriff, a guy that I got to see in his career, Toronto, San Diego, and then Atlanta. I didn't watch too many Tampa Bay Devil Ray Fred McGriff games, but Fred McGriff was a great power hitter, great player, great run producer. He was good defensively. I don't care what the metrics say. Metrics hate first baseman. That's a flawed thing. I am 100% fine with Fred McGriff being in the Baseball Hall of Fame. If it wasn't for the strike, he would have had over 500 home runs
easily.
But here's the problem, as in here's the pitch. Here's your problem. Fred McGriff, the most percentage votes he ever got on the writer's ballot was,
I want to say somewhere under 40.
39%. But the contemporary has him at 100%. Wait a minute. You're telling me Fred McGriff, did he get to be on the ballot for 15 years? Was he still on the 15-year ballot?
I want to say, I don't know the answer for sure, but it sounds like it because he retired before they ended up ending that ballot. So I want to say, I don't know, but I would lean towards yes.
Okay, whatever it was, the most he ever got was 39. And the minute he's on the contemporary ballot, he gets 16 for 16. Does that just show you how just all over the board and how rogue this thing is? I mean, I'd look at that process if I'm the Baseball Hall of Fame and go, we've got a broken system here. We got a player that got nothing, and then all of a sudden the contemporary all says 100% slam dunk, he's in. What do we miss? What's going on here? So this goes beyond, because there's no scandal with Fred McGriff. So think about that. Fred McGriff, not a PED guy, can't get in on the vote when the contemporary puts him 100%. You can't even get him in. You can't get the PED guys in, or you get a guy like Fred McGriff. Who can you get in?
Mike Mussina. I love Mussina as a pitcher, but I mean, all
right. I mean, Mike Mussina, okay.
270 wins, never won a Cy, never won a World Series. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's won 7 Cy Youngs and an MVP, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
And then the one that I'm always going to throw out there is that you're just going to look a blind eye to David Ortiz just because everybody likes him. He's Big Papi. And it's a popularity contest. A DH, who a lot of people thought a DH should never even be in the Hall of Fame because he's not even close to a complete player. I'm not saying that's how I believe. I'm just saying that's what people said for years. A DH should not be in the Hall of Fame. Big Papi not only got that, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer with loads of clouds around him with PEDs. And if you want to go the morality clause.
Yeah. I'm tired of talking about the morality clause. I really am. And Ortiz going in, but how many votes did A-Rod got? Like 34% of the vote. I think A-Rod eventually does get in. I mean, he apologized where Bonds never did. But A-Rod apologized. And I think, as you mentioned about him being on TV, I think people are getting more what's the word I'm looking for? Sympathetic to him about him getting into the Hall of Fame, because we're getting so much of A-Rod on the K-Cast and now Fox, and he was on Sunday Night Baseball. I think he eventually gets in, but I don't think we're going to put Bonds and Clemens in.
We should have yelled at Amsinger. Amsinger, get over here.
We never had him. I never actually requested. I like him a lot on TV, but we always want BK.
No,
or
we've
Dan or
had
Dowd.
him. If we've had him a time, we've interviewed him before.
Susan's on her way up somewhere, so we'll get Susan in right for BK. We can go back to back Hall of Fame segments.
BK's gonna be here 305. How's this gonna work?
Oh, we'll make it work. BK gets on at 3. I don't know if he'll be here exactly 305. MLB Now's on right now.
Well, what happens if he does?
Well, I'll tell Susan we'll put her in after him.
All right.
So we'll figure out.
It's getting dicey here at the winter meetings.
Hey, it's only day one.
It's day one.
It's day one. We're not even 2 full hours in.
You can't move Jeff Blum, the great Cal Bear.
Yeah, he leaves tomorrow, so yeah, we can't. So we'll see.
He rolled in for a day.
I think he said he's leaving tomorrow. I mean, we can ask. I mean, I think he said he wanted to get here and put his face in front of people. Not that no one knows who Jeff Blum is. I mean, he did have a pretty big home run in the World Series, has a statue. But
now
what do I know?
Now we are right next to the Yes Network stage. They have now. I don't know if they're taping or they're going live, but
I don't see any Yankees news.
I mean, the Aaron Judge thing. We've kind of put that on the back burner here because everybody's talking about. It's about Verlander. It's about Trey. It's really about Trey Turner. It's like crazy, the Trey Turner deal. But you start thinking about Aaron Judge. I mean, you were hoping that, this is kind of like when you'd want him to sign, right? This is when you'd want him. You want to make the noise. You want to make the news. I mean, you'll do it at any time if you're the Yankees or the Giants. And we'll ask Susan about that. But, if he's not going to sign till after Christmas, I can guarantee you the Yes Network, they're sitting here for one reason. And they're sitting here because they want to make that announcement of Aaron Judge. And the great Susan Slusser joins us here for the San Francisco Chronicle. How are you? It's been a while.
Tony, I've missed you. I have not seen you since before COVID, I think. Is that true?
Yeah, because I wasn't allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed. Our act, they wouldn't allow to come to San Francisco, which I understood.
Missed you.
How have you been?
I've been good. Yeah. Yeah,
Everything
it's interesting.
good?
Yeah. And it's been a change of pace.
Yeah, definitely going to switching organizations is definitely different. What are you pointing me at for, Cody? That camp? Okay. We're just talking about the Yes Network. They're here for one reason, and I don't think they're going to get that reason here. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know what you're doing in 11 years. I've been asking everybody because Trey Turner signed for 11 years. I don't know where I'm going to be in 11 years.
I'm thinking margaritas somewhere, maybe on a beach.
I'm hoping we're almost retired, right? Yeah. We'll be out of this.
Yeah, I'm a little older than you, but yeah, that kind of would be ideal.
What do you think the Giants have to do to land Aaron Judge?
Look, I have heard every possibility, and I've heard everything from he's going to be here tomorrow to after Christmas. So, it could be anything, and I think it's this point in the winter meetings where. Like a few little things, not little, a few things have happened, but he's the big fish. And I think that there are just kind of some rumors that have taken on.
Well,
a lot of that maybe are not to be believed.
I've said this. He's what's good about free agency and fun, right?
Right.
He just had, if we think of the greatest years that we have ever seen, I'll throw Bonds' year in there, what McGuire and Sosa did in that run that kind of helped save baseball. This year that he just had is one of the greatest years we've ever seen. This is what's fun. A guy just had like one of the biggest years ever and he's got all these teams that want him and he plays for the number one team in the sport. This is what's DeGrom to me. That's a bad deal. It's what's bad about free agency. This to me, Giants, Yankees, big markets, maybe a mystery team. This is what's good about free agency.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, it's fun for you.
Yeah, I don't have to cover it.
When you're covering a team that's in it, it's just like Twitter refresh. And every time I see a competitor talking to an executive I don't recognize, I'm having a panic attack. So, but it is interesting. And I think he will go off. I do think he will go off the board pretty quickly because I think the teams that want to spend this kind of money on him want to get it done because then they can do the other things they need to do. If it's the Giants have like 3 or 4 more things that they have to get done. They kind of need to know whether they're spending that money or not. So after Christmas, I don't think would be. I think if they want him, they would do it now. And otherwise go like, okay, well, if you're still around after we've gotten a shortstop, which if I'm the Giants and I don't get Aaron Judge and I'm not sure I can get him, I go very hard after Carlos Correa. Similar probably money profile, younger player, plays a primo position. That's probably what they're thinking is, if we don't know on Aaron or we miss out on Aaron, we got to go hard after Correa. They need to land one of the big fish.
I know fans don't want to hear it, but when you start looking at X amount of years, when you're going 9, 10 years, at what point do you go, man, 11? I mean, I saw this with Poole. Cabrera's deal's been bad for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And we're going to get one more bad year out of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's hampered their roster. Look, I get it. A lot of teams now go, we know the production is going to be here in the first 4 or 5 years of this deal. And then after that, it's just the cost of getting this deal done. When it's, somebody like Miguel Cabrera and you can't cut him, and Judge is that kind of guy. So that could be a problem. Trey Turner, if the end of that 11-year deal, he's no good, you could probably go like, I'm sorry, we'll pay you, but we'll DFA. They'll Billy Butler him.
Yeah. By the way, how different is it covering the two franchises?
Oh, it's very different, Tony. One of these teams spends money. One of the first things they did when I got there, it was maybe two months in, was they gave Brandon Crawford a contract extension. I had to look at the email like 3 times before it kind of computed. I was like, you can keep your top players forever?
Ever.
Wow. A local guy who's a great shortstop and you can keep him, Marcus Semien. I mean, that's when the A's really made no effort really to keep Semien at all. That's when I thought it's going to be rough here for a while. It's going to be a long, long road here if you can't make at least a very good offer or give him a qualifying offer even.
We sat here at this table with Marcus Semien in 2019 and his wife was right there.
Yeah.
And I want to be in Oakland, and it didn't happen. Also, the front office told you basically everything at the other place. How does it work with this front office?
They're pretty buttoned up, which is fine. I think that's how a lot of the front offices are.
You had it
now.
good.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're the second team in the market and you're really creative the way the A's are, I think, they've always got irons in the fire, and they're such interesting things. I think it was maybe a little easier to talk about the Giants. I don't know, the Giants, they haven't done a lot of stuff where you go like, oh, how wildly creative and interesting. It's kind of more like, hey, they got all this money. What are they, maybe they should spend some of it.
Yeah.
Their bigger deals have not been mind-blowing, and some of them a little bit head-scratchy, which is one of the reasons I think they need to do something big here. I love Tommy La Stella. That year he was with the A's, my gosh.
Great.
Did anybody have better at bats than, that kind of like half season or whatever it was?
You know what he did?
Unbelievable.
He did something that's so interesting. He put the bat on the ball.
I know.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
It was very unusual. You didn't see a lot of that this year. But he, it hasn't worked out with the Giants. He's been hurt almost all of it. And the other guy they gave a 3-year contract to is Anthony DeSclafani, who is almost immediately hurt as soon as. Remember when the A's were every once in a while giving out a decent contract or an extension? Every single guy seemed like they immediately got hurt. That's what's happened to the Giants. So I think they very much do need, especially after the 107 win season and then really just being such a disappointment last year, they have to do something here. So to me, they need to know soon on Judge, or they have to go hard after Correa.
We miss you. The fan,
I miss you
forget
guys.
me. The fan
Look,
base.
there's Jessica Kleinschmidt. I miss Jessica.
The fan
Hi.
base. The fan base misses you. Everybody misses you.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a different vibe. You know what? I enjoy covering the Giants. They do things really, really well. It's a beautiful ballpark. Obviously, I really like the people over there, but I miss the people in Oakland. I really do.
You know what? Careers, just like baseball players, we move around. I moved around to a lot of different stations.
Yeah.
But you'll always be in Oakland, eh?
You know what? And I know that everybody's like, you'll be back. Everyone always comes back, which is kind of true. But the fans, it's hard to find a better bunch of fans than A's fans. just a unbelievable bunch of people, and they've been through a lot. And I wish nothing but the best for the whole franchise, but especially for the A's fans. I really do. They're great.
Can we do this again here at the winter meetings when stuff happens?
Sure.
We're a little backlog right now. We got to get to Brian Kenny. Can we?
Oh,
do
you've
this?
got Brian next. I was just on with Brian. Grill him.
You were just on with the great Brian Kenny. Let's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you following me on the air, Brian?
You're leading off for the great Brian Kenny.
Grill him. Asking the hard stuff.
But how long are you going to be here? Till Wednesday?
Yeah, through Wednesday.
Can we do this again? Because there's a lot more I want to get into with you because we have really missed you.
Oh, okay. Anytime. I will cede the headset to my friend Brian Kenny.
All right, Brian Kenny, the great BK, joining us. Susan, come here, give me a hug. I haven't seen you in so long. So good to see her. We'll always be in Oakland A at heart, no question. But doing a great job covering the Giants for the San Francisco Chronicle. You hear me reference this show on this show constantly, whether I do it on the talk show or the pregame show, the post-game show, in-game, whether I'm doing it on NBC Sports California, TV, radio, streaming. I'm talking about you all the time. And I've told you, it's been a long time. I mean, one of the cool things is that we're back in the same spot. We got to really meet you. We've had you on the show, but we got to meet you last time in 2019, finally face-to-face. It's good to see you. It's sad that when we haven't been able to see you, but it's great to see you.
It's good to be back. Right. And you're also like on the leading edge, also a show on the vanguard.
Yes.
So like you guys pay attention to the latest in the industry as we do. And I've been doing that all week with the Hall of Fame too. We just talked to Susan, part of the, the inner circle of voting. So I find all that stuff fascinating, and it's great to see you too. Yeah,
the good thing, I mean, what we started here, and we're still the only team in baseball to do it, is mixed television, radio with streaming video and audio. And that's why I think about your great show, MLB Now, which I reference all the time. Mm-hmm. I steal from you all the time.
Feel free.
I love it. You kidding me? I told you I got teenagers watching your show now. I'm helping your demographics.
Thank you.
So, I mean, that's the thing, and that's where our sport is going. And the A's have always been, as you know, from the history, going back from Philly, Kansas City to here, always leading a new, didn't always go right, but always trying new things. I've been curious about, we were just talking about the Hall of Fame, and it's like, my God, I remember I was in high school in 1989, and the Pete Rose, Bart Giamatti signs off. We've had a black cloud around. I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame 3 times. It's amazing. But I'm thinking about the kids who are growing up now, and all they hear is he can't get in, and he can't get in, and he can't get in, and he can't get in.
Right.
More guys can't get in than can get in. And then now, you got Schilling with politics and everything, and then here comes Beltran now with cheating.
Yeah.
And that leads me to, my God, what, in 13, 15 years, we're going to deal with this with Altuve and Bregman? I mean, we're going to have this cloud of who can't get in for probably over 50 years with the baseball.
Well, and you're also going to have failed drug tests left and right. That's always going to be some sort of issue. It's a management thing. But you're right. That's what struck me with this Veterans Committee ballot, was it finally hit me that, wait a second, here's a chance to like break away from this stuff. It's a constant, do you rationalize bad behavior? That's what it comes down to. Like, okay, you hear, well, this guy, he failed a test, but but he only failed one test and he was a great player before that. Or this guy, he never actually failed a test. Or I think Bonds and Clemens were great players when they were skinny before they got on this stuff. Okay, but no, and then Schilling, the same sort of thing. Well, is he as bad a person as he seems on social media? And the answer is no, right? Like he's a bit of a bore, but he's not that same guy. His social media persona is much worse than the actual person. Most everybody will tell you that. I know Kurt, he's not a bad guy, but yeah, on social media, it brings out the worst in him and in a lot of people, right? But all that to me, when I looked at that list, was everybody here, including like Rafael Palmeiro, Albert Bell, you're wondering, can I rationalize bad behavior? Or do I reward good behavior? And there was a clear choice for me, McGriff, Dale Murphy, Don Mattingly, to just feel good about baseball.
Yeah.
You're right. It hit me that, wait a second, here's a chance to feel good about baseball, feel good about the Hall of Fame, and not lessen the standards at all. Mattingly's the best player in baseball for 4 years, best hitter in baseball for 4 years. Del Murphy's the best player in the National League for 6 years. Not 1 year, not 2, not 6 months, 6 years. So to put those guys in, they're peak Hall of Famers. They're not like they don't have the longevity, but very few guys actually do. I thought it was just this clear choice. I had the exact same feeling you did. Like, man, we're always having these ethical discussions. How about we just feel great about baseball? And there's a reason why guys like Mattingly and Murphy are beloved by their fan bases. They're everything that's right about baseball. I was really hoping one of them would get voted in. I'm thrilled Fred McGriff gets in. Excellent. So I'm happy with that. But this was kind of along those lines. Yeah, here's a chance. Can we feel good about baseball and not be talking these ethical dilemmas and they cheated, they did this and that, right? Beltran is next. Did you hold him to the fire? Tired of it, right? I'm much rather like, can we celebrate what's good about baseball? And with Fred McGriff, we can. I think in the future, Mattingly and Murphy should go in as well.
I grew up here in San Diego. I watched Dale Murphy on TBS. I had a poster of Don Mattingly. Remember the machine, even the pinstripe?
That's what it's like. Those guys were like Fred McGriff. I tried to explain. It's like, for kids now, like history gets condensed, right? As you get older, you look back and you say, hey, your vision of this guy, that was not the vision at the time. Fred McGriff was not some also ran. Fred McGriff was the man.
Yeah.
Fred McGriff was the man. And I did this. I hope you saw this on the show. I ran the numbers. In their 20s, Fred McGriff was every bit the hitter Barry Bonds was.
I saw it, yeah.
Skinny Barry was about the best player in baseball, if not the best, and yet Fred McGriff could hang with him. Runs created, all the analytics. Yeah, Barry was a better fielder, better base runner, but you know what? Fred McGriff was a postseason monster, and Barry Bonds had real issues in the postseason until he was on the stuff in his last year in the playoffs. So you want to tell me who would you rather have while they were in their prime? I would take Fred McGriff. That's over Barry Bonds. So I'm not making excuses. He's a nice guy. I want him in the Hall of Fame. No, he's as good a player, and without the baggage. So I would, if you remember and if you saw Fred McGriff play, you absolutely thought this is a big, big guy.
Oh, my God. He led the league in home runs in both leagues. No one had done that.
Right.
We hadn't seen
And every
that.
time there was a big, remember the trade deadline, he was the guy. Free agent market, he was the guy. He wasn't, it's like Aaron Judge is this year. That's the way Fred McGriff was spoken about on the free agent market.
Ask the Giant fans about Fred McGriff going to Atlanta.
What's that?
Remember when they
he ran them down.
Oh, my
By the way,
God. Giant fans hate Fred McGriff because of that.
And he ran down Barry and the Giants.
Yeah.
Ran them down. Beat him by, he slugged, I think, 600. Did he have, I'm trying to remember the numbers. Like, was it 55 RBIs in 68 games?
Oh, he's a monster.
93, 94, 95. McGriff was dominant, but the strikes screwed up that year. He would have been the MVP. He was a beast in the 93 NLCS. I think he had like a 500 on base, slugged 700 against the Phillies. They lost, but he was a monster. And then when they won the championship, he slugged 600 at all three levels of the playoffs. The Braves do not win, even with all that Hall of Fame pitching, they do not win a World Series championship without Fred McGriff. Meanwhile, Bonds and Clemens were known as guys who had real problems in the playoffs. Do you remember that too?
Oh, yeah.
Until they were
A's fans know that about
Until they
Clemens.
were much later.
Yeah.
And Clemens got reps with the Yankees and everything else, but who knows? He probably had help. Everything else, like suddenly, okay, these guys are playoff performers. But while they were actually playing in their prime, Fred McGriff was a much better playoff performer than those two guys who now I think the new generation looks at and says, oh, they're the greatest players in history. They truly were great. They were, if they had retired at 31, didn't do steroids, they still would have been Hall of Famers. I'm not denying that. But as far as they're held up as these all-time greats, and Mattingly, Murphy, and McGriff are nice little players. No, not true. Not true at all.
No, if you lived during that time, Donnie Baseball, as you mentioned, he was like Tony Gwynn, but the best power hitter.
With
the best power hitter. I know that we're not electing Mary Poppins into the Hall of Fame. And one of the reasons why, having worked in the National Football League, I know some of the best players aren't the nicest guys in the world. And I was saying, earlier, the greatest player I ever saw, Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor doesn't get in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ray Lewis, for what's happened with him, doesn't get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Think of the other sport you love, the sweet science boxing. Mike Tyson or somebody, if it's baseball's morality, a lot of these guys don't get into these Hall of Fames.
You know what? I don't get – I look at this specifically. Baseball has the tradition and the history of a long-running, long-established Hall of Fame. And as it has been pointed out many times before, there's a lot of rogues that are in there, a lot of bad behavior that guys who are Hall of Famers, Ty Cobb, Rogers, Hornsby, right? There's a lot of guys involved in lots of different things. So it was seen at the time that, hey, we're kind of, basing it on the merits of their on-field play, except when you cross an obvious line. Do you know Shoeless Joe Jackson was never banned from Hall of Fame consideration back in the day, back in the 30s, 40s,
Really?
and 50s?
I didn't know that.
It didn't even have to be said. Of course,
was just done.
Of course, you were not going to vote for Shoeless Joe Jackson, and I understand why They made the move on Pete Rose. I understand. Like, did it have to be forever? I wish it wasn't. But as far as these guys who actually, taking steroids isn't like, I don't know, you had like a DUI or had a one bad day, or it's not like you took a pill one day. You're on a surreptitious regime year round to become a better player and get a competitive advantage. And you have to do it in the cloak of darkness. You must do it on your own, by yourself. You must do it without anybody knowing, and you have to lie about it the rest of your life. So we're going to honor that. Like, I know there are guys who did it, probably who are in already, but you can't stop everybody. But the guys who took the most advantage of it, look, they beat the system. They got paid. They got the accolades. They got the MVPs. They got the Cy Youngs. But this is about being honored, bestowed the highest honor in the sport. I liken it to, like, I understand if a cop joins a corrupt precinct, right, on the police department, and he's surrounded by guys on the take, and then he ends up being on the take too. I understand it, but I'm not going to make him policeman of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, there's a difference. And I know the new generation, the kids out there that didn't live through it, can look at it now and say, come on, everybody was doing it. You're going to ding this one guy? No. Not everybody was doing it. It was wrong then. Ben Johnson was the biggest story in all of sports. It was 1988.
Google it, everybody.
Long time. The fastest man on the planet. Right? 1988. He was punished. It was like, oh, strip him of this. And he was shamed and banished and all that. It's 1988. So everybody knew it was cheating. They knew it was cheating. They beat the system. Doesn't mean you have to honor them.
All right, quickly, I know you only have so much time. We got some deals. DeGrom came down. Obviously, that's a lot of stuff's been going down the AL West, right? I mean, Verlander's now leaving, going to the Mets. Trey Turner gets 11 years.
Yeah.
What do you think so far of the meetings?
It's crazy. I mean, these are big deals, but we knew that. I think the competitive advantage, we're into that always. The A's, like the history of looking for competitive advantage. It's something that we call in economics return to scale. The best return to scale now is at the high end. I thought last year's best deals were Max Scherzer, Freddie Freeman, the high end guys. Normally each year I'm scouring the lower end guys. Like this year, I still like Mitch Haniger, Jurickson Profar, players like that. But where are you really getting the return on your investment? It's at the high end. Only 5 teams spend more than $200 million on their payroll. If you're one of those 5 teams and you are playing in a different neighborhood, you have less competition, actually. Like, how many teams can actually be speaking to Bogarts and Turner and Carlos Correa? Not that many. So you have a chance. Look, I thought that was what the 11th year was all about. Dave Dombrowski's in there saying, we can do this for this. It's massive money. Oh, they're going 9. We'll go 10. Oh, they went 10. This goes to 11, as they said in Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11. No one goes to 11. We just did. Boom, sign this deal. So that's what it takes. Like the big players, if your ownership says, look, man, I don't mind $200 million. We can push $300 million. You're going to be in the market for some of this prime talent.
Let's end on this. You have the most unique show in baseball. And what I love about it is people either love you or they're mad at you.
They're mad at me?
But you know what they're doing? They're talking about you.
I didn't know this. I heard this. No, it's all right.
They're talking about your show.
I hope so.
I mean, when you designed the show and what the show has become, is this how you saw it evolving, what it would be for us baseball fans?
I thought when I started this show on MLB Network, and I didn't even pitch for the show. I just said, here's all the things we should be doing. And they said to me, the brass at the time, do you want to do your own show? I was like, oh, okay, we could do all this. And at the time, remember, there's a real schism between the new age and analytics and the old school. Now it's all blended together. So I just try to do the smartest show possible. And I thought every TV network every sport would be doing a show like this. Like, how is is a version of my show not in the NFL or the NBA? But okay. No one has that vision. So MLB Network had that vision. We do this show. I call it for the thinking fan. But I'm rooted in the real world. You know that if you watch the show. And that's what I'm talking about. Character and guts and grit. But there's ways now that the vocabulary is a little more expanded where I just mentioned Jurickson Profar. Grit, guts. How's his process at the plate? How are his at-bats? How many pitches does he see? How's his contact? How's his discipline? How's his swing percentage? We can measure a little bit of these guys who actually grind it out. Like the old phrase would be, this guy's a gamer, he grinds it out.
Yeah.
We can quantify that a little bit better. But you first see it with your eyes. You'll watch a guy like Profar, another Padre, Hassan Kim, and you'll say, I like this guy's process. This guy battles at the plate. And then you start looking up the numbers and you find it's valid. So that's what I do. And I expected the rest of the industry to do it, but I don't know. Not everybody's equipped. It's hard work. But it's the way I view the game, and I think most of the industry now views the game in exactly that way.
I watch it every single day. I can't tell you how many times I'm pausing because your graphics.
You have to slow it down.
I mean, this is my research right here. He doesn't come up as that. So when we take stuff every day, I mean, we want to be.
I like that. Get that full screen. Use that full screen.
I want to view us as not only entertaining, but one of the smartest shows in baseball. I think it's how we've grown and gotten better. And we use your show a lot. And
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
Compliment I can give you.
I met a woman today down by the coffee shop. I was with my producer. She said, "Can I take a picture with you?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." She goes, "Although you are my nemesis." I go, "How am I your nemesis?" And she goes, "Well, you do the show for the thinking fan. I don't want to think." I'm like, "I'm your nemesis." But then we took a picture. I think she was all right. But that's what happened to me just here today. I'm the nemesis. Okay.
The show works. It's my favorite. It's great to see you again. Thank you
too,
so
man.
much.
Thank you. Great seeing you too.
We got more
Enjoy.
coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
Martin Gallegos of MLB.com stopped by A's Cast Live and laid out the plan to build the next core of players for the A's.
In terms of getting more competitive towards next year, you hope that, some of these guys who got called up this year, like Shea Langoliers, Nick Allen, Jordan Diaz, some of these guys, take that next step next year, have their full year under their belt. And along with, other guys like Tyler Soderstrom and Zach Geloff finish the year at AAA, you hope that those guys can come up at some point, whether it's, the second half, and kind of start, building something here, a core group of guys like we saw, a few years back with Chapman, Olsen, Pinder, all these guys that came up. See these guys, who have won together in the minors kind of start to mesh at the big league level. And if you can kind of develop that core next year, I think that's what it's all about for next year. Taking a step forward, being more competitive, winning more games than this year. But more importantly, I think finding that core group of players, core group of young guys, out of those prospects that you have down there, and hope that some of them evolve into, players who you can count on for the next few years to lead that next, playoff group here in Oakland.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
A's fans, there is no better way to stay in touch with the A's and even our players than following us on social media. Just head over to athletics.com/social. That's athletics.com/social for a full list of our social coverage, from player accounts to Twitter handles and more. Now is the time to stay in touch. Head over to athletics.com/social. That's athletics.com/social today.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine with your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Bay Area locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Do you have the cameras on so our fans can see the Cal Bear gray hair?
He is. They'll see
back in the great state.
Hey, they won a national title again yesterday. Back-to-back water polo national champions.
Well, I was going to say it's either that or swimming, right?
Conference of Champions.
Hey, dude, we would be down at the time it was Harmon Gym. I don't know if it still is, but there was a weight room that overlooked the pool. And we'd be in there at, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning going, oh, my gosh, it's so early to be lifting weights. You complaining as an 18-year-old at a D1 school. And you'd look out the window, and there would be 35 guys in a pool with gallon water tanks full of water above their head, treading water and waiting until the water drained out of it. So I was like, yeah, I could have been a water polo player, but I'm glad I'm up here in the gym complaining about lifting, a 35-pound dumbbell, so it all works out. But it makes sense that they win, NCAA championships because they're working their tails off. And for whatever reason, good schooling and aquatics go together for national championships. Go figure.
Well, the funny thing about the Pac-12, obviously when SC lost, all right, you're not going to be in the top 4. And it's but when you go to a Pac-12 school, we knew it as the Pac-10 back in the day.
Dude, I played in the 6-pack. Nobody believes me.
You're not that
Dude, that's
old.
how old I am. Yeah, man. Are you kidding me? Dude, we'd have 2 trips to Arizona, LA, and that would be it.
It's hard to believe it really was the Pac-6.
I need you to help me because people are like, no way, dude.
Yeah, there were only 6 teams.
Yeah. When we were going to Washington and Oregon.
There was no Northwest going on
that was
in the
D2
Pac-6
up there.
back in the day.
Yeah.
So you could be going to class, you don't realize, but you're actually going to school with Olympians.
Oh, dude, 100%. And you'd never guess it, too. It'd be amazing. But, I mean, the crazy thing was the only way that you knew that you were amongst greatness was the way they carried themselves. And I don't know how many swimmers you've been around. Their shoulders are broader than some of the best big league pitchers I've ever been around. I mean, their upper bodies and their torsos.
And no waist.
None.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a legit power V. It's all shoulders down to the miniature waist, and then the ankles, there's nothing there. But, yeah, incredible. So many Olympians.
All right, so it's not official, but it's being reported that Trey Turner got an 11-year deal. So I've been asking everybody, where are you going to be in 11 years?
Man, I can't even say that we'd be sitting right here in the
Retired?
same room. Yeah,
Are we
dude, I'm going to be
retired?
long gone. I'm going to be somebody's afterthought in 10, 11 years. Yeah,
I
hope
believe
so.
that 11. Can you imagine as a player? Can you imagine?
Any
point in your career, could you imagine where you were going to be 11 years?
Oh, dear God, no. I lived on 1-year contracts. There's no way I would have known where I was going to be in 11 years. It is crazy. And, I mean, what a world we're living in. It seems like the economics in baseball are fantastic. What an unbelievable free agent market for shortstops alone. I know you want to talk about JV in a little bit, but this shortstop market is absolutely incredible to me to see that the numbers are going out with. But I think it's a credit to Trey Turner that he got 11 years. But, yeah, there's no way. When I started out my career, if you said anything about 11 years, I would have been like, yes, please, whatever it takes. I would have played for $1,000 a year to go get 11 years in the big leagues.
It's unreal when you think about that type of commitment. When we talk about the shortstops, because obviously how well you know Correa.
Yep.
Everybody's trying to sell him as being so. Yeah, Swansby's only 7 months older.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty much about the same age. Let's stop.
Yeah, don't
with
kid yourself. Yeah, I mean, numbers. I mean, the age number is always something, but yeah, these guys are very similar and very close in age. Yeah.
So when you look at the four, like I have these questions, for our show, like who's the best bet, who's the biggest risk, and all of that. I mean, who's going to play the longest at shortstop? Because there's no way Turner's playing 11 years there. So,
God.
So when you start to, I mean, how do you look at the four?
Well, first of all, when you talk about giving guys an 11-year contract, and you talked about Trey Turner probably not playing 11 years at shortstop, I think in this day and age, now that you have the universal DH, you're signing this guy primarily in the first half of that contract to be your shortstop. So you can start building your organization or building around him. In Philadelphia, using Baum at third base, and then you've got right off the Segura at second base. So you can have this legit infield built around him. But in 6 years, you would imagine that with the universal DH being employed, that you can move these guys off of shortstop and put them in there and still use them as valuable as they are as an offensive weapon. I think that's probably something that probably speaks more to a guy like Carlos Correa, just because his injury past, his size, he might be the biggest shortstop available. And the only reason I say that is because shortstop is such a hyper athletic position. You're constantly bending over. He's got back issues in the past, but at the same time, he will play you a very serviceable, if not gold glove potential shortstop before you either move him to third base, before you move him to shortstop. So I think that's the idea when you start thinking about, oh my gosh, 11 years, what are we going to do with this guy? The DH lends itself for an opportunity for these guys to be an offensive weapon, which is primarily, I think, what these guys are being signed for.
And I think you can make an honest bet here with Dansby Swanson being the guy who actually plays the position the longest.
Guy's good.
Even though he's not the fastest, he doesn't have the best arm.
Dude.
He can play.
He can play, and he's a proven winner, too. Got that ring in 2021, and obviously went as far as they did this season. And I think what's interesting about Dansby, too, is he's one of those kind of, I mean, you can't talk about it these days, that X factor, what is he like in the clubhouse? This guy's a grinder. He's had to fight. He's worked hard. I think that Dansby might be one of the sneaky good pickups out of those four guys. I mean, you've got the prolific Trey Turner in L.A. coming over and now signing with the Phillies, and then obviously Carlos Correa with, all of the hardware baggage, whatever you want to call it, that brings with him. But I think Dansby Swanson is one of those guys that kind of underlying is a true leader at shortstop.
It takes a lot to win a World Series. Obviously, when you talk about that guy in the clubhouse that you look back and you go, man, this guy he came in, brought energy, brought leadership, brought life, brought belief.
Yeah.
Who was that guy for you guys with the White Sox?
It could have been a couple of guys, because actually Jermaine Dye was not one of the more vocal leaders as far as being in the clubhouse, rah, flip tables or start screaming or coming up behind you and saying, hey man, it's okay. You had a rough day. We'll pick you up tomorrow and go. But he was one of those nonverbal leaders that was on the field that would continue to grind and continue to pick you up by the way he went out there and played. And he wouldn't do it in front of everybody. He'd pull you off to the side and be like, hey, I know it's tough right now. You're going to be fine. We'll pick you up. When you get going, we'll use you. But until then, we'll have some of these other guys pick you up. But Paul Konerko is a guy that doesn't get talked about enough for me. And maybe he does now in this new age of analytics and Hall of Fame talk. But he put up magnificent numbers, played on some very good championship teams, won the World Series with us in 2005. But PK was that guy that underneath, when you were sitting in the cage, taking your hacks, and I was the 25th guy on the roster, and Konerko's the all-star first baseman who's the vocal leader of the team. He would come in and he'd watch your swing. Every swing you were taking, he'd be like, hey, try this. Hey, did you think about this? It looks like this is a little out of position. So that's where I think PK kind of picked it up. Paul Konerko picked it up a little bit for us. But what was great about that is he convinced all 23, 24 other guys to be in the box with me when I was up there. And that's what I really see in a lot of these leaders that were very good on these championship teams. I see it with the Astros. There's a camaraderie and a belief, like you were talking about, Townie, where these guys believe in each other. And that's what you need if you're going to go out and play 162 games and then try and fight through a playoff.
It's all in.
You have to be.
It's all in.
If you don't have it, how hard is it to build that belief, though, these days? And maybe that's why you sign an 11-year contract, is to keep that guy there to sustain that belief with a guy like Bryce Harper or some of these other guys that they have over there.
Well, like for Warrior fans, I mean, we've seen it with the Golden State Warriors.
I mean, you've seen it plenty.
All in. They're all, I mean, and like football, to get that many guys, that's how you win.
Yes.
You may not always win the World Series, but to go deep in playoffs and to have playoff runs, and we're looking down at the Yankees, what they've done, what you guys have done, Dodgers, you need so many people to buy in and believe. And as you said, Paul Konerko, he's trying to help everybody get better.
Everybody. And that's something I've seen in this clubhouse with the Houston Astros, obviously being around the cage. I don't try and infiltrate as much as some media guys do. I just try, because I respect the time that they have when they're in the clubhouse. But when I'm on the field, they're taking plenty of video, and Alex Bregman is one of those guys for me. Watching him, he is so in tune with the game. He's so in tune with his own swing, but he's also watching other guys. So not only is it something that you absorb just by being around somebody who works as hard as an Alex Bregman or even a Jose Altuve, those guys will have opinions. They'll talk to you. If I walked up to Alex and said, "Hey, what do you think about my swing?" He would probably break it down in about 15 different pieces to try and help you out. And I think that's a culture that they've established inside that clubhouse that makes the addition of Jose Abreu pretty cool, because I've in talking to some of the Chicago White Sox people, trying to understand Abreu a little bit better, it sounds like he's going to be a great fit.
By the way, Abreu in and Verlander out. Do you know how much it pains me that Verlander is not a Houston Astro
anymore? He's not going to be pitching in Oakland. I mean,
we have to be on his
Oakland Coliseum.
We have to be on his Hall of Fame plaque, right? They have to mention something about the A's.
Yes, absolutely. Both in the regular season and some of those postseason. My gosh, some of those closeout games in the early 2000s. I mean, wow. Yeah, no, you're happy he's in the East and in the National League.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying from a standpoint of watching you guys, and we watch you, and I watch you all the time. It's, you may think you can replace him, and you might be able to find an arm, and you might be able to think you can do it in the postseason, but what he gives you during the regular season, every 5 days, when he walks through those doors of the clubhouse, it's win day. He's the dude, and I don't know how you replace that.
Yeah, because it's not just the physicality of the game that goes out there. Obviously, the talent's there, and then you say, okay, we've got this guy in Hunter Brown, who really grew up in Detroit, emulated everything that Justin Verlander did, has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, has a turbo. You can say everything you want physically and how he matches up, but those are the peripherals that you see on a regular basis. It's watching Justin from afar and going, man, this guy's dominant. And then you get to watch him for the last 5 years and really understand how come he is as good as he is on the mound. And it's all the work in between. It's the preparation, it's the understanding, it's the adjustments, the adaptability, because he came from an organization where he relied totally on physicality and mentality, and came over to the Astros. All of a sudden, he's getting numbers, he's got metrics. Now he's making minor adjustments to make some of those pitches better, and he in turn got better. But if you needed a bulldog to go out there and absolutely fight his brains out for you, there's two guys in the league, Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. I don't know what the relationship is like anymore or what it was like in Detroit, but the fact of the matter is there's two guys up there that are going to absolutely rip their faces off to go out there and try and beat you on a weekly basis. So that's what I'm kind of curious to see, is how that dynamic works out, because both those guys work their tails off, they're prepared, and they have this unique competitive idea when they take the mound.
How or why was it so easy for him to leave Houston, where he just won a Cy Young and just won a World Series?
Well, the easy answer, the paycheck. He wasn't going to get that from the Houston Astros. And I think the Astros do a very good job, obviously, with their analytics, but the cost evaluation on some of these contracts, whether it be your age, what you bring to the table, WAR numbers, whatever you want to talk about. And they looked at their franchise. They saw that they just added Abreu, which makes their offense considerably better. And then you look at the rotation and you say to yourself, without Justin, we have Framber Valdez, all-star last season, obviously improving on a year-to-year basis. You got Lance McCullers Jr. back. You're hoping to see if you can get more, not more as far as stuff, but more opportunities, maybe 25, 30 starts out of him. And then you start to go to the Jose Urquidy, the Christian Javier, who absolutely blew the doors off the postseason. And then Luis Garcia, who's a proven big league starter. And like the guy we just talked about, Hunter Brown, who could be the next rookie of the year if he pitches up to what we think he can do. And that's where you kind of sit back and you say, okay, if we can get Justin at, say, $35 million, yes, we'll do that. But once it gets into that 37, 38, 40, 43 million, then you start to say, okay, we're pretty good at where we're at, and we'll be able to compete even if we don't have an ace like Justin. But you just wonder, like you were just talking about, you unplug him out of the clubhouse or out of that rotation. What does that mean to those guys? Who's going to step up and fill that role?
I don't doubt the Astros anymore. When you go to the ALCS 6 straight years, 4 World Series, win 2 of them, I'm not.
Is that not unbelievable?
Whatever they do, I'm not sitting here going, I'm not questioning it at all. I just, how about the Rangers?
Wow.
It's like $746 million the last 2 years,
and that's all between 3 guys.
And if like the option gets picked up, it could be over $800 million for 3 guys.
Yeah, that's more than a lot of third world countries out there that could use that kind of support. I think. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, that's state income tax free money going out the door right there. I don't know how you feel about it. All the conversations I've seen, would you rather have a Justin Verlander for 2 years at the number he got, or a DeGrom at 5 years of what he got? I think there's a pretty good argument either way, but I think there's a really good argument to say that the Rangers have a history, and even with a new GM and Chris Young, a new manager and Bruce Bochy, and some of the additions they've made, it's amazing how they stay in that position of giving these absolutely amazing contracts. And they're going to be better, but for considering where they were playing at from before, did they get that much better to compete against the Seattle Mariner or against a Houston Astro? I just don't think that they did. I mean, man, that's a crap ton of money.
It's $800 million.
I don't know how you.
I can't put my arms around it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think. My math professors at Cal would attest to this, that I'm not very good at it. But at the same time, you've got 2 position players and a pitcher that are going to garner $120 million a year, almost $100+ million between those 3 guys, right? I mean, that's halfway to your.
How much are they? What are they per year? The 3 of them.
Let's see. Seager was 10 for.
It's got to be over 100.
Yeah, I'm looking to. I think it was Evan Grant had the tweet when they.
That's what I'm trying to remember too. I think you're right, Cody, with the Evan Grant tweet. I was trying to figure out, but that's
3 guys.
Yeah, what's the CBT at right now? It's like 238, 240, 240 million, and you've got 3 guys on a 26-man roster taking up $100+ million of that. Wow, gutsy.
He's had a lot of tweets. Here it is. By the way, the Rangers have now committed $764 million to Seager, Simeon, DeGrom, Gray, and Martin Perez over the last 366 days. If DeGrom got the full value of the 6-year option, it pushes to $801 million.
You can't make that up.
Dude, you got Dr. Evil running that place, man. Just bring the pinky up to the mouth and go $801 million.
All right, I want to change your career. I want you to think that you just hit 62 home runs.
Oh, man.
You led the American League in every category.
And you're
except batting average, but you were right there.
Who cares?
RBI, slugging, on base, WAR, you name whatever stupid analytic you want.
And when I walk into a building, I'm 6'7", 260, built like an Adonis.
You're basically an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
That plays center field.
That plays center field. Think about that, man. I'm stealing bags and shagging flies in center. Yeah. And I'm hitting 62 home runs a year.
And now you're in San Diego.
Yep.
And you're a free agent.
Oh, man. I'm licking my chops. Yeah. I'm wearing a hat that has a $sign on it and says, who can get it? But is it $signs or is it years? Because the money, I think, annually, we always talk about the AAV, the annual average value per year. And is that the number? Is it being the highest paid guy per year, or is it having that stability of a Trey Turner 11-year deal? Is that the idea? Because Judge is turning 31, or he'll be 31 next season.
31, yeah.
So that's something you have to take into consideration right there. But again, playing at an elite level, that kind of production, he's a guy that'll play right field, center field for the next 5 years, and then just plug him into DH, and you're going to get bomb central out of the guy.
What for me, and obviously I'm just some guy here talking, but I want to get as much money as I possibly can, but I would not want it to end like Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to get to the extent where
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, and I don't know for sure, obviously, but I would have, the Albert Pujols is in that category too.
Yeah.
Robinson Cano getting traded away. I mean, there's so many. You can go back to Denny Nagy, the left-handed pitcher in Colorado that had that contract. Mike Hampton. I mean, there's numerous contracts that were 10 plus or at 10 years. It kind of got to the point where you feel like you'd have to pull them off to the side before the season and kind of get behind closed doors, turn off all the microphones and phones, and just be like, "Hey, man, this is hard."
Wouldn't you be embarrassed as a player?
That's what I'm wondering. We all have that integrity and the idea of integrity and how you want to see it finish off. But yeah, you're right. When it becomes painful, maybe physically also, but painful to watch and understand that these at bats are hurting your team. at what point do you step up and say, I mean, is it sacrificing that last couple of years of the contract? Is it legacy? What is it? I don't know where that line is, but yeah, there's been several situations, Miggy being one of them, where it is hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine if I was 41 years old and
as fast as the game has evolved, because there's no way how about as a front office, being in the front office, you talk about all these regression analytics, you talk about, trying to project. How can you project how quickly the game has shifted from, sinker slider guys in the early 2000s to here we are 20 years later, where everybody's throwing 95 plus and power spin, power velocity. That's where I think some of these contracts get exposed, is how quickly the game is evolving and how good athletes are at adapting and getting better every single year. It feels like that's happening more rapidly and forcing guys like Miguel out.
Yeah, you go from being like a statue guy to where all the kids are now booing you at the end of your career. I don't know if I'd want that.
Yeah.
Sounds good now in San Diego at the winter meetings. Let's fast forward when you're hitting 230 with 5 home runs.
Yeah. And like you said, the kid's filling out the score sheet, and he gets down, and you're starting to score through the game. You're like, oh, Miguel's up.
No.
Yeah. And you're just going, can we DH for the DH? I don't know. I mean, it's terrible, but you also hate to see it. That's going to be the lasting memory. That's the problem too, I think, for some of these guys to realize. And it's a shame that some of these kids actually have to go to history class with their parents, and because their parents are going, man, this guy back in the day was 35 and 100 every single year. If there was a guy on second base, he hit 400 with runners in scoring position, and now he's fighting to put a change up in play.
Yeah, I just, but that's the thing. I want you to be Aaron Judge. I want you to think about that, because you get 11 years. You're now going to be 42?
Let's be honest. Who wants to play into their 40s, man?
I can't even imagine. I'm sore after playing golf.
Dude, join the club.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have to get like a Geritol sponsorship or, Blue Emu or whatever it is.
You really want that? Like, how old are you now?
Dude. 49. I'm 49.
Yeah, see, I'm 50. So I'm thinking, like, even when I was 42.
I retired at 39, and I was in absolute pain every day trying to get on the field that year.
Can you imagine if you extended that like 3-4 more
Dear
years?
God, no.
And everybody's throwing 100?
Dear God, no. No, I would have to swing an aluminum bat. I would have to paint forget corking. Forget doing steroids. I would have to paint an aluminum bat.
Get the old black magic out.
Dude, you kidding me? I'm going old school Green Label back in the Cal days, man. I'm calling Herbie back at Cal and going, hey, you got anything in the archives that I could pull out and try and compete against these guys? No way. No, my last year was 2012, and I can't remember who it was, but we were playing the San Francisco Giants, and this dude threw a fastball at 95, and I'm like, oh, I can still get to 95, and then it cut and absolutely destroyed me, and I was like, yep. That might have been the moment I realized I was like, I'm out of here. There's no way I'm competing with 95 that's moving like that.
Well, you've established a nice little career for yourself.
Yeah, no, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's allowed me the opportunity to sit down and talk with you all the time, man. That's beautiful.
Well, we love seeing you. You're out of here tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be leaving tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, I've got to get back. I've got 3 seniors right now, and one of them played volleyball last year, so they've got the volleyball banquet coming up on the 7th, and I can't miss that.
That's right. The triplets are going to college.
Yeah, in case another kick to to the age right there, because I'll be 50 in April, so hopefully that first trip through Oakland, I'll be the same age as you are.
I mean, you're talking 3 kids going to school all at once.
Well, first of all, if
your oldest is already in school.
Yeah, she's a freshman at University of Arkansas. So if you are a young adult with kids, get a 529. Start contributing whatever you can, a couple $100 here and there. I highly recommend it because it's definitely softening the blow of having 4 kids in college here in the next year or so. But the thing that I'm worried about is we're going to go from straight chaos to nothing. You talk about being empty nest. I mean, it's chaos in the morning. It's 3 kids, and then the weekends with the friends coming over, the boyfriends, that madness. And then you're telling me we're going to ship all 3 out. And I'm going to be sitting across the table from my wife, who has been the event planner.
Grinding.
Grinding. The event planner for the last 18 years.
Yeah.
She's going to look across at me, and all of a sudden it's going to be like a beautiful mind of all these ideas. Oh, I can make Jeff do this now. I've got to coordinate. I'm going to be in the line of fire. So I'm going to have to figure out how to navigate that situation.
Well, this right where we are, San Diego, was a big part of your career, because when they were born, you were playing for the Padres.
Dude, 2005 was a great year for me in every sense of the word because, I got the opportunity to come here to San Diego. Obviously, I lived 45 minutes north of here, born in Northern California, raised in Southern California. And being able to play in front of friends and family was unbelievable. It was a blast. But 2005 was probably one of the crazier years of my life, both personally and professionally, because, like you said, signed with San Diego, triplets are born May 3rd, and, they're in the NICU for 8 weeks. They come out of the NICU. They're at home. We're trying to keep 3 infants alive on a daily basis. We got that down, and then July 31st comes, and I get traded immediately to the Chicago White Sox. And then we win the World Series. So 05 will, as far as stress and anxiety, I will always remember, but also because there was a pretty good payoff at the end of the whole thing.
Well, you got a statue.
You're damn right.
You're a statue guy. You can't take that away from him. He's a statue guy.
Was it Matt Cain or Clay Hensley? I went back and looked in your last year against the Giants.
No. It was 2012. It was whoever there was a Latin closer for them, or a guy that was young and turned into their closer. Can't remember who he was.
Was it Romo?
No, Romo didn't throw hard enough.
Duvall's way too young.
Yeah.
Now I have to look.
Yeah, he was, man, I know this is kind of broad, but I mean, he was big too, man. He had to be about 6'5" and just cranking downhill. And I was like, dude, this guy absolutely wrecked me. And I remember I broke my bat. I'm waiting for a new bat from the bat boy, and I'm just going, I can't feel my thumbs. And I'm like, I don't want to go on the injured list with broken thumbs. Like, just get me through this at bat. And no, but I played with Clay Hensley. I played against Matt Cain.
It wasn't Castillo, was it?
It was Castillo. Yeah, that's exactly who it was.
He was a former A, right?
Yes.
Santiago Castillo, but he had a different name.
Yeah.
Yario Garcia.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yario Garcia turned into
You're
Santiago
welcome. You're
Castillo.
welcome for bringing that one up. Fausto Carmona. No, dude,
you're talking about the old Guardians pitcher. Right?
Yeah,
when he changed his name.
Yeah.
Well, it is great to see you.
No, it's always good catching up with you, Tony. You guys, like I say it every single time I'm on here, but yeah, you guys have been great to me, and it's always a blast coming on with you guys, not coming on to you.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
We're here.
The great Cal Bear. And that's why we whenever we do the video, you got to make sure the Cal, because you got the Astro thing there, and you got to make sure you got the Cal Bear
it's
thing.
Still there. It's still hanging there. It's actually funny because you had brought that up, or maybe Cody had brought it up when I was on with you guys last at the end of the season in September, and we were talking about that. You got to have something from Cal, and I mean, unbelievable. I'm going through all of my junk and dusted that thing off, and it's still hanging there. All my podcasts that I've been doing, or any videos, Zooms, or interviews that I've done since September of this season.
Yeah,
it's the Cal jersey.
You
Still
had it
hanging there.
blocked, and I told you get the Cal because I know with our audience, they see Astros, they get angry.
Yeah.
But then they see Cal, they go, oh,
yeah,
he's a Cal Bear.
It's like Harry from Dumb and Dumber. Totally redeem yourself by having that hanging there.
They can't hate you for that, right?
That's the hope.
You're one of them.
That's the hope. Well,
you're an East Bay. You go to Cal, you're an East Bay guy.
Yes, 100%.
Can't miss college game next year. Cal v. Dion in Colorado.
Dude, how about that, man? What the heck?
What would that like being playing for Deion Sanders?
I don't know, man. I'm watching some of these speeches that he's giving in some of these meetings that he's having. He's a genius, by the way. I mean, the way he's marketed himself, obviously doing a great job at Jackson State, but the way he's marketed himself in some of these videos and the motivation and stuff like that, he has done a phenomenal job. And I couldn't, but I would play for that guy. I think it'd be a lot of fun. It's going to be really interesting to see what he's able to do in Colorado.
Because they need help.
Yeah, they need help big time, but also the Pac-12. There's an interesting future up there in the Pac-12 as far as the conference is concerned, isn't there, with some of these football teams?
Yeah, next year's the last year for USC and UCLA.
When you're begging San Jose State, my alma mater, to come in, we'll see if we'll even accept it.
Yeah, dude.
San Diego State,
but that's the
Boise.
Thing. It's got to be, right? But is there some undercurrent that maybe went up to Dion and go, hey, man, we need some street cred out here. We need a big name to coach one of these teams that's still in the pack. Can you do it? And is that conspiracy theory type stuff? I was just like,
Dion's going to be able to bring guys in because of the name this, image, and likeness the NIL deal, so he can be able to bring
Oh my gosh.
Colorado can get a bunch of. He already brought his son to play quarterback.
I was going to say that booster club expanded a little bit with the NIL, didn't
Yeah.
it? Jeez. So his son's going to come out.
Apparently, they had it. I saw a video on Twitter on my way on the flight down here that he goes, "Our quarterback's going to be my son. He's got to earn it though." So I mean, his son had a really good career.
Does
2
that mean
years at
show up
Jackson
and
State.
fit into the jersey?
Pretty. Yeah. I mean, come on. You think Deanne's not going to start his kid who was really good at Jackson State? He pretty much told all the kids that might as well transfer now in the video they put out yesterday.
That whole thing's interesting to me too, man. I mean,
Can you imagine the portal?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The transfer portal all of a sudden it's turned into free agency, and now you go into Colorado, play for Deion Sanders, like we were just talking about, the marketing of himself. There might be a lot of guys out there that say, "I want to go play for this guy."
But you got to remember too that, like free agency, what we're dealing with here in baseball doesn't work out for everybody.
No,
there's
grass
a lot
isn't
of,
always greener.
There's a lot of kids sitting in that portal who haven't gotten signed, haven't gotten scholarships. I would say for a lot of guys, it's worse than it's helped. So, I mean, who knows in our day if we would have wanted to do that, right?
Yeah.
If I was sitting at San Jose State going, I want to change and go, but you never know, man. I mean, some of these kids doesn't work out.
No, you're exactly right. And, at the time I had dreams of UCLA, Wichita State. I'm trying to think of some of the big schools back then. Oklahoma State, Miami, some of these other schools across the country. But one of the best things that ever happened to me was going to Cal and playing underneath Bob Milano. I mean, I grew up not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. I was built to handle what I'm doing now because of what I did at Cal. There's no other explanation for it. And if I would have sacrificed that after a great freshman year of going to the World Series and taking a chance, who knows? Maybe I get buried by some other guy that was way better than me.
Going to Miami and ruining your life on South Beach.
Yeah, right. Just being totally school. What? Yeah, no, yeah.
Just the tan.
Yeah, I was going to say those distractions did not exist on the Berkeley campus or anywhere in the vicinity of Berkeley.
The craziness of Miami. All right, buddy, be well, and we'll talk soon.
Good being on
Have
with you.
a
Yeah,
great
appreciate
Christmas, holidays,
You
and
too.
We'll talk.
It'll be good. Yeah, I look forward to it, dude.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine with your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Senior writer for MLB Pipeline Jim Callis stopped by A's Cast Live and discussed the prospects he likes in the A's farm system.
I like Ken Waldichuk. I think he's a little unheralded. I think Tyler Sauter, like Shea Langoliers got there this year. I really like Shea Langoliers. I think having Shea Langoliers makes it easier to let Tyler Soderstrom do what he does best, which is hit. And it's always tough when you have a really offensive-minded catcher like Tyler was, where if you catch him, it detracts from his hitting because of the time you have to devote to catching and then the physical toll. So I think they're going to get more out of Tyler Soderstrom's bat.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Bay Area locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
When Northern California businesses need some pop in their lineup, they call the bank rooted in the East Bay. Mechanics Bank. Since 1905, Mechanics Bank has been helping Bay Area and Northern California businesses find success and perform at the top of their game. See how they can make a difference in your business today. Call or stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Oh, the winter meetings. It's the best.
Do you see who's right there? The guy that we had drinks with in the bar in 2019.
Rossi. You think he remembers?
You know what? I don't know how he couldn't remember us after all the wild times we had in that bar here at the Manchester Grand Hyatt.
That was, I mean, it's hard to believe that was
3
that
years
long ago, but it's great to be back and to see everybody. It's amazing how many people walk by and just have waved, and we haven't been able to talk to them, but we'll start to see as everybody's in the lobby hanging out. You know, you're now at that time of the day at 4:00 where everybody starts heading to dinner. Everybody starts making plans, cocktails, how much is negotiating. The real deal, though, is that all of this is for us, right? All the stuff that you're going to see on MLB Network, they'll pop in with some stuff on ESPN. That's all for us, the fans and the media. As David Forst told us 3 hours earlier, they're all hanging in the rooms. And they don't go to each other's rooms anymore. It's so funny because back in the day when we would see footage of the winter meetings, it would be, you know, GMs in rooms talking with each other. It's because they only had landlines for the hotel room. Now everybody's got cell phones now. But they're all hunkered down in their rooms. And the good thing, you know, to get back to the A's, the good thing about what we've heard today, and we got to talk to David a little bit off the air, is that the A's have contract offers out to people right now. Right now. So, I mean, you know, a lot of people thought, what are the A's going to do? I mean, there's stuff on Twitter. They have no money committed to anybody. They are going to sign people. There's going to be more people coming in.
Newsflash, there will be 26 guys playing on the team on opening day.
But there are offers right now out to agents. Agents are calling David Forst. He talked about, you know, he's been getting those calls since yesterday. But the A's have made offers that are currently out there on the table to potential free agents. Now, they're not going to be 11 years.
Just give me Brandon Drury.
They're not going to be 37. I mean, Why not Sean Manaea back?
Why not Jerison Profar roaming left field?
Would you be shocked?
No, not at all.
I mean, nothing would shock me. But, I mean, it's not going to be like last year. I mean, that's the one thing that we can report right here on A's Cast as, we lived it. It was rough. And when we go to spring training, we knew it was going to be rough. We knew that at spring training. But it's not going to – I don't know how much better, but it's going to be better.
Yeah, well, it has to be. Not has to be. You just know it will be. I'm looking forward to it. And we got 2 more days here. We got even longer days starting tomorrow here.
And we got Sam Fuld tomorrow, general manager, former Oakland Athletic. We got Sam on tomorrow from here.
Yeah, here's the list of people we'll have so far tomorrow. Mike Farron, Sam Fuld, the great Brody Brazil, the Mad Dog.
What are we talking hockey? What's Brody doing?
Brody's here. We're supposed to have Sarah at some point. I forget what time I confirmed with her. We're gonna have Mark Kotze. Eno Saris will be here, and we're going to have the great, as of right now, I sent the email to the Guardians to confirm we're still good, the great Terry Francona
Tito
around 3:20-ish tomorrow. So that's what we got going tomorrow.
You know who's
Fold's at 10.
You know who's walked by multiple times? Billy Epler.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times.
A man that I used to watch games with in the box. He and I used to share because the visiting GM, that's where I would always do the pregame show. And I actually watched a few games with Billy Epler. When he's walking by one of these times, I got to, hey, I'm sure he'll remember. He's from San Diego.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll see him. Fred McGriff, they're doing a press conference with Fred McGriff.
Freddie's here. They flew him out from, is he in Florida?
I think that's where he lives. But everyone's like, oh, fittingly, he's going in San Diego. He played for like 8 teams, but yes, he had a good run with the Padres.
He wasn't here very long. It was like 90 to 92, something like that.
I remember the Crime Dog more as a Brave or a Blue Jay or Tampa Bay Devil Ray.
Well, that was a huge I mean, that's one of the biggest trades when you talk about the names traded. When you think of Tony Fernandez and Fred McGriff, Tony Fernandez was one of the best shortstops at the time. Fred McGriff, a power-hitting shortstop, for Roberto Alomar, future Hall of Famer, and Joe Carter, who at one point was on a Hall of Fame projection as an outfielder, all the great years with the Cleveland Indians, and then was dealt to the Padres. And then, of course, hit one of the biggest home runs in World Series history. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger one in your life. So, I mean, when you talk about Roberto Alomar, Joe Carter in a trade for Tony Fernandez and Fred McGriff, I want to say that's like 92 or something like that.
That's a big deal.
I mean, that was huge. That was a huge deal.
That's when that right around the next year is when they landed Blue Jays legend Ricky Henderson.
Well, that's kind of like how I brought it up, and maybe we'll have to get into it a little bit more tomorrow. But, valuing veteran people, veteran players, veteran minds is getting back into the game. I mean, we are seeing that. I mean, look at the managers that are being hired. Look at the players. I mean, think of the veteran guys that the Oakland A's used back in the heyday of the late 80s, early 90s, where you didn't have a problem bringing in, the Cobra Dave Parker or Harold Baines or these guys. You think about the Toronto Blue Jays and the 2 World Series that they won. Think about who their DHs were, their prime offensive guys. You think of Dave Winfield in the first championship. The second championship was Paul Molitor, right? They brought in Ricky Henderson. They brought in Jack Morris. They brought in Dave Stewart. They brought in these types of players. The Yankees did that in the late 90s and the early 2000s. They went out and got veteran guy. Remember who was when they really got back to winning the World Series, who their third basemen were?
The Yankees. I'm drawing a blank. No, I don't. I'm not even gonna try to guess.
One's a Hall of Famer, one's a former Pirate.
Jay Bell. I'm kidding. Former Pirate third baseman.
Wade Boggs.
Oh yeah.
And Charlie Hayes.
Oh, his son now plays for the Pirates. Keep right.
There's my guy Billy Epler. There he is. It's tough just to scream at the Mets GM across
with the
hall.
Mets brass. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, with the Mets just surrounding and everybody's going up and asking him for a job. It's so interesting.
Billy, hire me. Hey,
how funny is that? Billy Epler got ran out of Anaheim. Well, first he was a Yankee, right? He was in that brain trust with Brian Cashman. They kind of ushered in Billy Beane helped Brian Cashman start the analytics in the late 90s. Billy Epler was a part of that. Billy Epler then gets the job to run the Angels, run out of town, and now he's running the New York Mets.
So he's had a nice little career in big markets.
But think of his who's the World Series greatest baseball team that we've ever seen in our lifetime was the 98 Yankees. Who was the World Series MVP? Scott Brocious, former.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
I kept thinking Spezio for some reason, but yes, Brocious.
The Yankees were littered with veteran players when they were so good in the late 80s and early 90s. So it's like we're now getting back into that. So it's like, okay, I need a guy. We got to check. And I even, talking to Jeff Blum, I didn't even think about this. Whenever I see breaking news now, I think about
the Heisman
baseball,
candidates are out.
But there's all kinds of stuff.
It's the Heisman candidates. That's who's out right now.
Billy Beane will be arriving tonight.
Oh, all right, good.
All right, so we'll figure out when we're going to have Billy Beane on the program. So Scherzer and Verlander again.
2012 Detroit go trade for Cabrera, get Maglio Ordonez out of
Maglio. Maglio Ordonez.
Can we get Austin Jackson the roam center field for the Mets? I mean, they might need an outfielder if they lose Nimmo.
What was the DH switch hitter? Played for the Red Sox too.
Victor Martinez. Former Cleveland Guardian.
Oh, Maglio Ordonez.
Another guy on that team.
Who, by the way, famously was called Magiglio Ordonez by the late, great Harry Carey. Magiglio Ordonez to the plate.
Another guy that announced his retirement today, I believe, but former on the 2012 team. Maybe the Mets could lure him back to play again. Rick Porcello. He was on that staff.
Rick Porcello, yes.
Doug Fister.
Out of Fresno State, Doug Fister. 6'8", 6'7",
he was a big human. Well, I mean, Aaron Judge is from Fresno, and he's big.
God, those were great. I mean, those A's teams at 2012. I mean, legitly, you talk about, where people think about 06, you'll think about 02, 01. Don't go to sleep on 12 and 13 for the A's being, if they could have just got past Verlander in Game 5. Who knows? They would have got past Verlander in Game 5 just to get over that hump, to beat that guy, what the A's could have been in 12 and 13.
Could have been a magical ride. I mean, it was a magical ride in 2012, the winning division on the last day and all that. But yeah, then he had to face Verlander, who I love what you said. They should have the athletics on his plaque in the Cooperstown.
The A's should be on whatever they're going to put. How many wins and innings and strikeouts and awards and all-star games and Cy Youngs and all that kind of stuff. But that bottom line about his career better include A's and Yankees, because those are the two teams he's made the most history and the two teams he's dominated the most.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think people will. That'll be a data point when they look at Verlander's career for sure, and just how good he was. If he gets to 300 wins and 4,000 strikeouts in this day and age where we don't let guys go long in games, but the Mets will let him pitch long. So there you go.
Well, who the name that really pops up now from a pitching standpoint is our old friend. And I wonder if he's in town. Chris Bassett.
I heard he wanted more than a 3-year deal.
4 years. Wow.
And he's like 30. I think Bassett United sent me, so I think he's 34.
But he's kind of you think of his time with the A's and going through Tommy John and the setback. There's not a lot of mileage on the new arm.
No, not at all. Same with Verlander. We don't know about Verlander.
So he's kind of a, if you want to believe it, he's kind of a young 34, 35, whatever Bassett is. I mean, Chris Bassett at this point, for what he is going to cost, I guarantee you, whoever gets Chris Bassett, you will get more volume out of Chris Bassett than you will Jacob deGrom at a much better price.
Probably. Bassey likes to pitch long games. We know that from watching him in Oakland. Remember when he had the complete game and how great of a scene that was because we never got to see him do it, and then he got to do it. He was great that year. He was good for the Mets last year. I think people just underestimate that because they had what, how many games they won? 102, 101, and they lost in the first round. But he was good for them. He was a great addition for them to bring in last year when you had DeGrom hurt for most of the year. You had Scherzer. Taijuan Walker was good. That was a good Mets team. And now they're going to lose Bassett. They bring in Verlander. So it's maybe they bring in Rodon. Who knows? That's who we got to watch next. Rodon and Correa. I mean, 10 for 330, I said for Correa. Could still happen.
Can I make wait, what was our big?
Oh, yours was wrong.
Oh, I'm already wrong on my big bold
You
prediction.
said Schilling. Correa could still sign for 10, 330 with the Twins. Could still happen.
My big bold prediction of Kurt Schilling being in the Hall of Fame is now destroyed.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, let's play this real quick. This is from Fred McGriff. I haven't heard it, so we'll both hear it together. But apparently, he mentioned Tom Amansky in this clip here.
This ain't my Tom Amansky hat, but this is a whole lot better. It's beautiful.
So the Crime Dog got his Hall of Fame hat, and he said, "This ain't my Tom Amansky hat, but it's a whole lot better." Famously, this is an educational video that gets you results. Although he claims he's never seen the videos.
You got to be of a certain age group or to look it up. You can video. So these videos were on ESPN, and that was a different world for ESPN and how much it cost to advertise on ESPN at the time. That late night, these Tom Amanskys, like in Sports Center, and then they'd run Sports Center like they still do today, but over and over. There wasn't like a Scott Van Pelt Sports Center back in the day. It was just a Sports Center that ran over and over and over again, and it was just Tom Amansky. Just video, commercial after commercial after commercial. They ran it over and over and over and over again. It was unbelievable.
I mean, even I remember it. And I was a kid when this.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. God, you got me off track there. What was I talking about before you brought up?
We were talking about Chris Bassett and.
Yeah. Because right now, now that we could be looking at Trey Turner signing. So this is official, right? The Phillies haven't made it official, but it's 11 years, $300 million.
Someone tweeted that they wanted to ask Billy Epler about Verlander, but he can't talk about it because it's not official yet.
So Sam Folt's going to give us that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll probably have to touch base with him beforehand. Like, can we talk about Trey Turner? How about your new shortstop?
How about a shortstop? Yeah, but how much? For that, because we got 2 days left, right?
Yeah.
We got 2 days left. How much does Trey Turner signing for 11 years just throw everything out the window with these other guys have been looking at? I mean, if I'm in the camp of Dansby Swanson, if I'm in the camp of, is that Mark Kotze talking to the media?
Yeah, he's talking to the media. We're going to have Kotz tomorrow.
If I'm of Xander Bogaerts, one of the things that's so interesting about these three left, and Trey Turner was in that. All four have a World Series ring. All four have played in the playoffs. They've played at the ultimate level, the World Series. They're all relatively the same age. That's why I stopped talking about Correa's younger than everybody. He's only 7 months younger than Dansby Swanson. I went and checked it. So that's ridiculous.
I don't think Trey. Oh, he does with the Nationals. Sorry. I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, he went with the Dodgers.
2019.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, I was thinking the Dodgers.
Xander's got 2 World Series rings.
Apparently, from what I saw from rumors that popped up on my phone earlier, the Diamondbacks are real serious about him. I told you Mike Hazen's a former Red Sox.
Diamondbacks.
Front office guy. Torrey Lavelle is a former.
Diamondbacks.
Hey, they went out and got Bad Bum. Well, I mean, that didn't really work out, but
I mean, you're the Arizona Diamondbacks. You're gonna go out and spend $300 million on a shortstop.
I don't know.
They have a ton of young talent, though.
You want another big bowl prediction? He's not getting $300 million.
What? 250?
That's a lot.
You're the Arizona Diamondbacks. You're going to go out and put 250?
Yeah, I saw
one guy.
I saw the report. It was those ones about.
But you know why it's doable? Is because they have, if you
controllable young talent.
They've got a ton of outfielders. They got a ton of young, great athletes. They got a ton of guys that you're looking at who you could spend a lot of money and you could be in a situation to where he comes in and he's the only guy making money and he's mentoring people.
Yeah, you'd have him and Bumgarner getting paid. The rest of the guys like Varsho and Carroll.
Is that Bumgarner deal not over yet?
No, I think he still has like 2 years left. So we'll see how that one plays out, especially if they sign someone like Bogarts and they want to get rid of him. I saw a report too about Correa. I think it was the Giants. They prefer Correa and they would keep him at shortstop if they signed him. But every other guy, or they would keep him at short and move Crawford to third. But if they signed any other shortstop, including Turner before it happened, they would make them play second base. Brandon Crawford stays at short. So old man Crawford gets to stay at short over a guy that you're paying a lot of money to. But if it's
let me tell you something about Crawford. All right, he can play.
He's a great defensive shortstop.
He's got hands. He's got. I mean, that's why if I look at any of these guys, this kind of blue. I didn't think any of them would sign yet. That's why my 4 questions. Which did you like my 4 questions?
Yeah.
So I had 4 questions about the shortstops. Who's the best bet? Who's the biggest gambler risk? Who is the best long-term option? And who will play shortstop the longest? Number 4 for me, who will play shortstop the longest? And he might be the guy that I would want out of all of them because I'm going to probably get him at the cheapest price. And I do think because he is a shortstop. He's not somebody I'm moving to second base. He's a guy that I sign, and it's kind of like Brandon Crawford. I have the utmost respect for Brandon Crawford. I mean, obviously as a player in his career, but Brandon Crawford is a tremendous shortstop. He's got unbelievable hands. He's got the arm. He's got the mobility. Brandon Crawford's been a great pro. How old is he now? Like 35?
I think he's 35. Now he's going to be 35.
Brandon Crawford's had a great career. Wait, he's won 2 championships?
Yes.
He wasn't on the first one.
He wasn't on the first one, no.
Brandon Crawford's had a great career. I think Dansby Swanson, who plays shortstop the longest, I would bet Dansby Swanson out of the 4, even though he's not the fastest, even though he doesn't have the best arm, I would say Dansby Swanson. If he's going to re-sign with the Braves or he's going to sign somewhere else, Dansby Swanson for me is the guy who will play shortstop the longest out of these 4. Correa is going to get moved. Correa is an injury waiting to happen, bad back, bigger shortstop. He's going to be projected to go to third really fast. Alex, and I don't think it's a fair comparison when people try to say Alex Rodriguez. The only reason why Alex Rodriguez moved to third base was because of Derek Jeter. Alex Rodriguez was a better shortstop than Derek Jeter all the way through. Derek Jeter was brutal. No offense to the captain. But Alex Rodriguez was, but as Alex got older and played third, he got bigger. I don't know if he would have got as big if he would have stayed at shortstop, but Correa is going to get moved to third. So that's my whole thing. It's like, am I paying Correa? How am I paying Correa? Am I paying Correa as a shortstop for this phenomenal shortstop talent, or am I paying for a part-time shortstop, part-time third baseman? And if that's the case, do it. And I know it's stupid to say, hey, why am I going to pay him all this money? You're going to pay for the talent. There's no question. But I want you to realize that I'm going to look at him as a shortstop now, knowing that he may play more years at third base than shortstop under this contract.
Most likely. I think it was Hembo that compared him to this guy, and that could happen. He could be like Manny Machado, put on a few pounds and just become a great third baseman.
Also bad comparison because Manny Machado could still be playing shortstop. Yeah. He's already played shortstop. Probably Manny Machado is still the Padres' best shortstop. I don't know why they don't care. I don't know what it is that they don't want him to play short. Manny Machado is probably better. He's better than Tatis for sure. Tatis is not a great shortstop.
Oh, Marlins. Sorry, it just popped up. Marlins are hiring former Cardinals hitting coach and A's legend John Mabry as their assistant hitting coach.
Just had John Mabry.
I know, but he's with the Royals.
Just had him with the Royals.
Now he's
on A's Cast Live.
Now he's the assistant hitting coach for the Florida Marlins under Skip Schumacher.
That's the late breaking news from the winter meetings.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That was our friend Craig Mish. So
he breaks everything down in South Florida.
He is the newsbreaker for the let's just say Florida. We'll throw the Rays in there too. There's a lot of Rays. So I guess the Rays aren't in on the Grom anymore, huh? Guess they missed out.
Yeah. Well, you remember that. I was like, Rays and DeGrom, stop it. You know, the DeGrom thing, let me get this out now because we probably won't have time to talk about it. the DeGrom deal, I'm never going to hate anybody. I'm not going to hate somebody who it goes for the almighty dollar. I'm not. Why would you? Don't give me where you're from. But when someone offers you a deal you can't refuse, you're going to take it. We would do the same if the Texas Rangers came and called us. And the Texas Rangers said, we're going to give you $8 million for the next 5 years to do Rangers Cast. As much as I love the A's, as much as I love my job, and I'm 100% happy to be here, you think if I took $8 million to my wife, she wouldn't be saying, where do we pack up and go?
Or what part of Texas are we moving to? And how much? When can I get a house?
I'm not living in Arlington.
Fort Worth? Fort Worth's nice area.
Yeah, I live in Fort Worth, Dallas. I'm not living in Arlington. What, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is a price point. There's a point where you get offered this amount. You're taking that. You're going to take that money. So I can't. Someone just offered Jacob deGrom $185 million. I don't care what team it is. You're going to take that. But it also says something about you, in my opinion. Now, because I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't start with saying I totally understand. I'd take the money too, and the money can get up to what, 211?
Yeah, remember they can spend up to over $800 million on all the guys they signed.
But DeGrom's contract
yes.
can be 2. He'll never get to that, but it could be. But they just offer you $185 million guaranteed. I'm not turning that down. That's just a reality. But it also shows you the mentality of who he is and who he's been in his career. He has been a guy who's been babied. He's been a guy that's had no problem giving up the ball and not going innings. Something that I've been like, you're the guy that this 2-time Cy Young Award winner that you could be the guy telling your manager, don't come out and get me in the 5th. Don't come out and get me in the 6th. He had that cachet. He had the ability to say, don't you do it. I'm going in New York. You can go to the press in New York after the game. You could say, you could be pissed off. What are they going to do? Not pitch him? He had every right. He had every right to say, I want more and demand more. And he never did. You just saw it against the Padres in the playoffs. 6 innings, he's done. He was smiling in the dugout. He was fine. DeGrom is fine with not being the warrior guy, not being Max Scherzer, not being Justin Verlander. He's fine not being that guy. And what does this say with the $185 million? Well, DeGrom can go to Texas, and now no one's going to care if he misses a start. Because the front page of the sports page, even though we know no one reads papers, but you get the analogy, everything's about the Dallas Cowboys. No one cares. If he misses a start in New York or he misses 2 starts in New York, man, you got all these writers, you got all this coverage, you got all these people. What's going on with you? They're at your locker. They're on you. Texas, no one's going to care. You got Evan Grant of the Dallas Morning News and some bloggers, and that's it. To where in New York, you had people constantly on him about everything in his career. That's one of the reasons why he's leaving. It's easy. It's easy. You go 6 innings or 5, you go 5 2/3 with the Rangers. They're all going to get up and clap, and they have that super long hot dog. What's that hot dog we talk about every single year when A's are there and Glenn and Dallas are always talking about it? It's called.
I should know. I went to that ballpark.
Ray Fosse always said, "There's no way I can take that down."
I don't.
It's got the boomstick. That's what it is. The boomstick.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Then I always have a boomstick and a big beer. He went 5 1/3.
You know who they named that after, by the way? I believe it was after Nelson Cruz because they called him Boomstick.
I have no idea. Nor do I care. But that's the thing. That's who DeGrom is. DeGrom's leaving a situation where his team won 101 games. They've got a chance now with the owner who's willing to spend like a fan. They've got Billy Epler, who's walked by 3 times here.
In the last hour.
Our old friend from the Angels now running the Mets. You got Buck Showalter, who's the National League Manager of the Year.
Sandy's still there.
Sandy will be there for about another week or 2, but he'll be out before Christmas. So that's what he told us. Who knows? He wants to retire, and maybe he'll be back with the A's as a special assistant. But you've got a chance to go on a run here. You got a chance to own New York City. I mean, especially if my God, if Aaron Judge leaves New York, they don't have a star, and there's not a star out there. And I know some baseball people would be, wait, Carlos Correa is not a star. Please. If Carlos Correa was a star, he never would have signed with the Minnesota Twins. Aaron Judge is a star. This man just hit 62 home runs, set the American League record, breaking Roger Maris's record. Aaron Judge is a larger-than-life star.
Someone just tweeted something about Aaron Judge. Judge on the sidelines at Raymond James Stadium in a Bucs uniform. Are the Rays in on Aaron Judge?
Tom Brady talks Aaron Judge into playing for the Rays. Wait, what day is it? Oh, it's Thursday. Is it Thursday night? No, it's Monday. Monday night.
It's
Monday.
Bucs Saints Monday Night Football in Tampa. That's their first place. Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a losing record.
Can you imagine? Aaron Judge signs a 1-year, $100 million contract with the Rays.
But here it is right here. Here's a picture. There's Judge with the Mike Evans jersey on.
So I take it he's not looking to sign anytime soon. He's not sitting by an airplane. I mean, you can get somebody here anytime on a private plane, but does the Yes Network know that Aaron? We're right next to the Yes Network. At one point, we'll have to use our camera to show like all the people around there. Now, does the Yes Network know that? I
don't know.
Aaron Judge is at Raymond James Stadium right now.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully they saw Twitter, but yeah, this is what's going out there right now. I mean, these are verified accounts, and yes,
it is him. That is not a.
If you can find another, well, didn't you say you saw him at a taco shop and when you were texting me
during the All-Star break? I saw Aaron Judge at a taco shop here in San Diego when I was on vacation, and I texted you. It was Aaron Judge. He looked like he put on some weight, and he lost about 10 inches of height. But yeah, I'm not done yet.
Well, they're asking if we're closing. They set us to 4:30. We already went 30 minutes over.
I'm swarming up. We got a lot to talk about. It's the winter meetings.
Well, we got 7 hours tomorrow, so buckle up.
We have a lot to get up. So, legit question: Who's the star of the Yankees? If the Yankees, I'll wrap it up real quick. DeGrom leaving the Mets.
The star is Giancarlo Stanton. So I'm just throwing a name out there.
DeGrom leaving the Mets. When they're about to make this run of X amount of years to win, to go to a place like Texas, which is not going to win, that speaks volumes to me.
It's about the money.
I get the money, but
and Bochy.
I get the Bochy. You got a chance. Do the Mets have a chance to win a World Series the next couple of years?
Yes. Even if they lose Nimmo too.
They've got a chance. This is your chance to win the ultimate prize. I don't think the Rangers do.
I don't either. They need about 3 more. They need another legit starting pitcher and a couple other guys.
It tells me a lot about Jacob deGrom. It tells me a lot about who he is.
They finished 38 games out of first place last year. They were 38 games behind the Astros. Does Jacob deGrom close the gap? I don't think so.
At going 5-6 innings a start?
Even if he won 8, I still don't think he closes the gap.
You think he gets 30 starts?
Take the under.
So you don't get him every 5 days. You don't get 30-something starts. I mean, do you now just see the killer mentality of like, why does Verlander sign in New York?
To win.
Right? I mean, why does Scherzer sign in New York?
To win.
Why does DeGrom sign in Texas?
The boomstick.
Why is DeGrom all this time not been an innings eater and not been this killer guy? And why is it, we're saving him for the postseason? You think, okay, well, now he's going to go 9 or go 8 and be a star in the and he's not. Do we now kind of see, you now see what I've been talking about all this time when you guys have tried to shove DeGrom's the best pitcher in baseball down my throat? And I'm like, Do you now kind of see where I'm at? This guy, then, is this the warrior heart that we've been talking about? Does this guy have does this guy have? I mean, look at Tom Brady, look at Jordan, look at Steph Curry, look at the guys where money's great, money will take care of itself. But I'm here because all I think about and all I want to do is win championships. Does DeGrom ever, now seeing what DeGrom has done, does that strike you as that?
No. Like I said, take the under on the 30 starts. Could be 29, could be 28, could be 15. Who knows? I'll take the under.
He is the last 2 years he started 15-11. That's all you've gotten out of him. 15-11.
I think Hembo had 193 outs over the last.
Yeah, he's gotten
season and a half.
193 outs in the last 2 years,
But
and that's the guy you're like saying, "Oh, we're gonna give 185 million to." I get it. I get the money. I can't fault him for that, but I can fault him going. This always. You've always kind of been soft. You've always never been this innings eater, great, you've been a great 5-6 inning pitcher, sometimes maybe 7, but you've never been, you've just been basically a stat guy. And now it shows you're leaving a team that's going to be built to win a World Series to go to a team that's not even close.
No. Like I said, they still need a couple more pieces.
How many times I wonder in free agency, we'll have a lot of time tonight. How many guys have left World Series contenders to go to non-contenders?
It's a good question.
Right? To go from a team that was in the playoffs and a team that, in the end didn't win the division, but they're going to be built to be here for years, to go to a team, as you said, was 38 and a half games out.
I'll give you one. Corey Seager.
Yeah.
Marcus Semien.
Semien you can't doubt because
but I'm just looking at guys like
the Toronto situation was not a long term. Toronto was not going to be a long term.
Pujols.
Yeah.
Manny Machado.
Let me ask you a question.
Manny Machado.
No.
Baltimore was still good. They were.
Nah. How good were they when he left?
They were in the.
But he saw the writing on the wall, right?
I mean, maybe.
Was Buck out by that point?
No, I think Buck's last year was 2018. Let me just double check.
I mean, Machado knew things weren't.
They won.
He knew they were going to. I want to say he knew they were going to rebuild mode.
They lost in the playoffs in 2016, and then they won 75 games, and then I think he was gone. Yeah. Showalter's last year was, Manny was on the team when they won 47 games. So yeah.
So bite your tongue on the great Manny Machado.
Yeah, they were 2 years removed from being elite.
Quickly, look at the contracts you just brought up. Corey Seager. Corey Seager left the Dodgers to get the money, and he finished 38 and a half games out. Albert Pujols left St. Louis to go to Anaheim. Never, nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Hamilton? Texas was still good, right?
I don't remember what year. So he signed for 125, but he's kind of an interesting. That's kind of a. He was definitely a gamble on what's going on in his career, if you know what I mean. You were always gambling by signing him with the off-field issues.
I can't remember what year he signed with the Angels. It would have been.
Well, he was there in 12. Well, no, he was in Texas in 12.
2013. That offseason.
I don't think he's a great example because he had a lot of he had addiction problems.
Yeah, but Pujols, who do we say? Pujols, Seager.
Pujols, Seager. How many guys left winning situations just to sign for money? And man, Robbie Cano.
It's a good one.
But look how these things age. They don't age well. They're horrible. They end up being horrible deals. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. That's the thing about free agency. It's like, I'm never going to tell a guy not to take the very, 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 very largest contract and the most dollars ever. Technically, I wouldn't do that. You'd have to just so blow me away. But guys do. And it just kind of shows their mentality that, you may say you're all about winning, but when it comes to it, when you're just chasing every dollar and you rather go lose and make money than win and make money, says a lot. Because here's the thing, and I understand, but here is the thing. I mean, it's like, look at the money you turn down with another team. It's all generational wealth.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like someone. Well, they were only offering me 1.2, and then these guys offered me 37. I mean, it's all generational wealth in the end. But wow.
And by the way, more people are tweeting about Aaron Judge being at the game. So this is real. He's really there. Tom Brady. Power of Brady.
Well, Does it also mean he's not signing anytime soon? And the whole, because we want to think they're signing.
What if he comes out and has underneath the Mike Evans jersey, he has a Yankees jersey on?
All right, now you're overthinking it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Looking at 9 a.m.
9 a.m., yeah.
Sleep fast. We're back tomorrow from the winter meetings. We want to thank all the guests. Too many to thank, but we thank all the guests. We'll be back at 9 a.m. We'll be here from 9 to noon, take a break, then back from 2 to 4. But we'll be covering wall-to-wall coverage from the winter meetings right here on A's Cast Live.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets